Chapter 1160. Lu Yun wanted Shi Shang's help to find someone. It was easy for Shi Shang to find someone. Now that the entire Devil Town was in a state of panic, she was the most powerful one. The disorganized teams needed to be reorganized, and she was undoubtedly the best choice. Therefore, whether they were afraid of her strength or wanted to please her, most of the creatures in Devil Town were happy to help her find someone. But Lu Yun, this idiot, only provided a gender and a birthmark. He didn't mention her race or name. He only knew that she was female. More importantly, the birthmark was in an indescribable position. Did he have to ask the girls to take off their clothes on the streets? He would be beaten to death by the female yakshas, okay? Little Phoenix. Devil Town is too big. I can't find everyone by myself. Help me this once. Lu Yun lowered his posture. When he was asking for help, he had to act like he was asking for help. Why are you looking for her? Why did he have to look for her now? Lu Yun chuckled. Little Phoenix, it's a private matter. You probably aren't interested in this. Shi Shang raised his eyebrows and made a wild guess. Lover from your previous life? He was looking for a girl. Wasn't she his lover from his previous life? Combined with Liu Yun's lost soul and spirit, I can imagine a million emotions of love and hatred. Pfft. Lu Yun's face was full of disgust. Little Phoenix, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. Shi Shang. Love is hard to say. Lu Yun slammed the table. Little Phoenix, just say it. Are you going to help me or not? Shi Shang glanced at him lightly and called the young man over, asking him to bring people to Devil Town to look for the girl. Lu Yun heaved a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that she would reject him. She was probably in a good mood now. After all, she would only agree to his request when she was in a good mood. In a bad mood? Hee, I'm already being merciful by not cutting you to death. As Shi Shang expected, Lu Yun had provided too few clues and it was difficult to find. The few girls that the young man found were all rejected by Lu Yun. Miss, these are the last few female girls with birthmarks. The young man reported to Shi Shang, who was leaning against the wall without a care for his image. The girls looked around curiously. She was the most famous person in Devil Town recently. When they saw the little girl sitting at the top, they couldn't believe their eyes. So small. Just like that, the three forces that had been entrenched in Devil Town for many years were wiped out. Shi Shang was munching on melon seeds with a lazy expression on his face. Let that idiot take a look. The young man retreated and summoned Lu Yun. The moment Lu Yun entered, the girls blushed. Some of them even began to throw flirtatious glances at him. The air was filled with strong hormones. Lu Yun quickly walked past the girls and shook his head. No. Shi Shang waved his hand and motioned for the young man to take him away. This is all I can do for you. Little Phoenix. Lu Yun's handsome face fell. If she didn't help, how long would he have to search? Shi Shang had an unfathomable expression on his face. Fate hasn't arrived yet. When it does, you two will naturally meet. Lu Yun. It was obvious that he was spouting nonsense. Young master, I might know who you're looking for. A girl who was walking to the door suddenly turned around and shouted at Lu Yun. Lu Yun and Shi Shang looked at the girl at the same time. The girl immediately straightened her chest and said proudly, I know someone else who has such a birthmark. Who is it? Lu Yun scurried over. The girl's face turned red. Two furry ears suddenly popped out from the top of her head. She fidgeted and said shyly, Young master, if I tell you, can you touch me? Lu Yun. Shi Shang held back his laughter and asked, Where do you want to touch? The girl's face turned even redder. The ears on top of her head trembled. Ears? She wanted this handsome young master to touch her tail, but she scared him. Therefore, she decided to touch her ears. Lu Yun gritted his teeth and agreed. Okay. The girl beamed. Miss Lin Lang has such a birthmark. She lives in the pleasure house in the north of the city. In the end, Lu Yun was forced to touch the girl's ears several times. The girl's expression made She Shang think that he was watching some unspeakable plot. The girl's face was full of happiness. She was sent away by the young man in a daze. Lu Yun immediately went to the pleasure house to look for Miss Lin Lang. Lin Lang? She just left with a young master in white. Sigh, that young master is really good-looking. We've never seen such a good-looking person in Devil Town. Young master, why are you looking for Lin Lang? We can serve you too. We guarantee that you'll be so happy that you'll forget about home. Sisters, don't you think so? That's right, young master. Come in and have fun with us. The pleasure house, as its name suggested, sought pleasure and entertainment. Lu Yun was surrounded by a group of gorgeously dressed girls. They tried their best to drag him into the pleasure house. Little Phoenix. Lu Yun called out to She Shang, who was watching the show from behind. However, She Shang only watched the show. He had no intention of saving him. He even took a few steps back. It was obvious that he didn't care. Lu Yun was exhausted. He had been careless in making friends. Bah, this little Phoenix didn't treat him as a friend at all. Lu Yun could only save himself. It wasn't easy for him to escape from the group of girls. He immediately jumped in front of She Shang. Little Phoenix, you're too unkind. You left me in the lurch. She Shang's expression didn't change. Men like women. I thought you liked it. I'm not an ordinary man. Oh. She Shang dragged his words. Could it be that you're gay and like men? Gay? He didn't understand, but he understood the words, like men. He was a man with a normal sexual orientation. How could he like men? Lu Yun was furious. Little Phoenix, don't take my tolerance for you as a reason to be willful. When I get angry, even I'm afraid of myself. She Shang's face was full of understanding. You're angry because I hit the nail on the head? Don't worry, I won't tell anyone that you're gay. Lu Yun was speechless. What's with that expression? No, who's angry because of embarrassment? This is the reaction of a normal person, okay? Lu Yun gritted his teeth. Little Phoenix, do you know? When you speak, you're really asking for a beating. I know. She Shang was slightly proud. His tone rose, full of arrogance. I like it when you want to kill me but can't. Lu Yun was speechless. Wasn't that his line? Ever since Little Phoenix came, his position as the scum of the heavenly realm was almost gone. He felt so stifled. He'd seen people fight for credit, but he'd never seen people fight to be the scum. He just wanted to quietly be the scum. Asterisk, this is a fake group. System owner. We need one more person. Do you want to come? Xu Fei, come. System, what the hell is Xu Fei? Go away, let me talk to the owner. Police squad, deep. In. Two. Student squad, how deep? She Shang. It's bottomless. Cherub, Your Highness Shang should know this very well. After all, my CI is so good. Feng CI. Shy, system owner. I just want to find someone to play mahjong with. Why are you guys speeding? I don't have a driver's license yet. I'll go first. System. Chapter 1161. Lin Lang and a white-robed man left. Lu Yun guessed that it was Zhong Ling. After all, the girls had said that they had never seen the white-robed man before. Zhong Ling was the only handsome white-robed man in the city recently. There was only one reason for Zhong Ling and Lin Lang to take them away, the seal. Therefore, Lu Yun ignored She Shang's opinion. Alright, he didn't ask at all. He dragged her in a certain direction. Do you know where the seal is? She Shang walked into the dark tunnel and asked the person in front of him. Nonsense back then. Lu Yun liked to stop at the beginning and change the topic stiffly. Little Phoenix, are you afraid? It's so dark here. She Shang sneered back at him. Not cute at all, Lu Yun muttered in front. I'm cute. Master, I'm cute. Little White's voice sounded from the darkness. When it finished speaking, it had already jumped in front of Lu Yun. Shi Shang and Lu Yun didn't notice when this fellow followed them. You have nothing to do with me now. Lu Yun's tone was clearly a little angry. He hadn't even made a soul contract with Little White, yet it had casually made a soul contract with a stranger. Just thinking about it made his stomach hurt. Lu Yun and Little White chattered in front. Shi Shang's thoughts ran wild behind him. Lu Yun being able to trigger a side mission was enough to prove that his identity was special. It was normal for him to know something that others didn't. Be careful. These things took many lives back then. If you touch them, you'll definitely die. Got it. A soft conversation came from ahead. After passing through an arched door, their vision immediately widened. Their current location was actually halfway up the mountain. Outside was a valley with lush green trees and flowers adorning it. This was like another world. Who is it? A shout came from below. Jianmu, long time no see. Lu Yun stood above and looked down. What are you doing? There was only one way down from the mountainside. At this moment, Jiang Ling and the others were on that path. All of them walked cautiously, afraid of touching the blooming flowers beside them. Shi Shang was one step behind. When she went out, Jianmu and Lu Yun had already started a war of words. It's easy for you to talk while standing. Come down if you dare. So be it. I'm not afraid of you. Lu Yun stepped on the path down at a very fast speed. An unfamiliar girl in the team reminded Lu Yun softly, be careful. Those things are poisonous. Even if you have a divine body, you will still be poisoned. Lu Yun did not slow down and quickly rushed in front of Jianmu. How is it? Jianmu, if you can't do it, don't think that everyone can't? Jianmu was so angry that his entire body trembled. He reached out and pushed Lu Yun, throwing him into the sea of flowers beside him. The unfamiliar girl was shocked and reached out to tug at Lu Yun. Unexpectedly, Lu Yun suddenly pulled her back and looked at her with a burning gaze. Are you Lin Lang? The girl was a little puzzled. Yes. Humph. You made it difficult for me to find you. Lu Yun's words were a little baffling. Lin Lang did not understand. Immortal Monarch, does Lin Lang know you? Lin Lang was puzzled. Lu Yun sneered. I don't know him. Lu Yun let go of her, steadied himself, and shouted up, Little Phoenix, are you done standing up there looking at the scenery? Why are you still not coming down? Lin Lang's heart skipped a beat. It was as if the man who spoke to her just now was an illusion. Shi Shang slowly came down from above. She walked even more arrogantly than Lu Yun. Her skirt swept across the flowers and pressed down on a group of flowers. You. Lin Lang wanted to remind Shi Shang. Little Phoenix is immune to all poisons. Lu Yun answered on behalf of Shi Shang. His voice was still cold and there was a hint of hostility in his eyes when he looked at Lin Lang. How could this little bit of poison cause any harm to the bloodline of an ancient race? Lin Lang wisely shut up and retreated to Jiang Ling's side. Immortal Monarch, what grudge did I have with this immortal monarch in the past? Jiang Ling glanced at Lu Yun and shook his head. I don't know either. Is it too late for me to quit now? Miss Lin Lang, we need to reach the location of the seal. If the seal is not repaired, the people will be plunged into misery and suffering. You don't want to be a sinner of the three realms, right? Lin Lang sighed. Forget it, this is my mission. But I'll have to trouble you to tell that immortal monarch not to cause trouble for me. Jiang Ling couldn't guarantee that he really didn't know what grudge Lu Yun had with this person. However, with Lu Yun and Shi Shang together. Oh no, there was also Little White. With these three together, it definitely wouldn't be peaceful. Lin Lang stopped talking. Only then did Lu Yun look at Jianmu, who had just lifted her. Jianmu's scalp went numb from her gaze. You lost your balance. Lu Yun gave a fake smile. Then you have to be careful and watch the road. Jianmu, a threat, a blatant threat. Shi Shang and Lu Yun walked behind. Little White was eating the flowers and plants that were said to be highly poisonous. Seeing how happy it was eating, it probably wouldn't be poisoned. The group in front walked carefully, while the three behind walked very casually. It was fine if it was the phoenix. After all, its bloodline was impressive. But what right did Lu Yun have? Of course, the people in front didn't have time to dwell on this problem. They had a lot of problems in front of them. After entering this place, all their powers could not be used. Spiritual power was in their bodies, but they couldn't use it. Therefore, they needed to rely on their own strength to cross the valley, climb over a mountain, and flow through a river that wasn't considered wide but was so cold that they wanted to die. Then, how do we get past this? Facing the raging fire in front of him, Jianmu was on the verge of breaking down. Linlong's expression was a little strange. There shouldn't be any fire here. What? Jianmu raised his voice. You mean there was no fire here in the past? But now there is. Linlang nodded. From what I know, this should be a plain. The location of the seal is in the middle of the plain. I don't know if there was fire in the past. Zhongling asked calmly. The temperature of these fires is very high. You don't know how to get past them? Linlang shook her head. How would she know something that had never existed before? After sealing the demons back then, the gods naturally wouldn't just leave them be. Instead, they left behind a guardian. Linlong's ancestors were the guardians. It was passed down from generation to generation until it reached Linlang. Linlang had never been here before. What she knew was passed down by her ancestors. It was normal if there were any mistakes. Linlang tried her best to recall those memories. She shook her head. There was no memory of fire. Zhongling thought for a moment and guessed, it's very likely that it was caused by the loosening of the seal. We have to think of a way to get past it. We can't use our powers now. Although we have immortal bodies, it's inevitable that we'll be burned. Isn't she a phoenix? Let her bring us over. Jianmu pointed at Shi Sheng. The flames of a phoenix's nirvana were the hottest flames in the world. This bit of flame was a piece of cake for her. Chapter 1162. Shi Sheng. Why is it me again? I've already lowered my presence, okay? Zhongling didn't answer. He just looked at Shi Sheng. Although he didn't say anything, it was equivalent to a silent question. Shi Sheng took a step back and blocked his chest with his hands. No way. There's no window. These idiots want to ride me? Dream on. Jianmu finally found a proper reason. If he didn't retort now, when would he? Qili, do you want to be a sinner of the 3 realms? I want to. What can you do? I can even be a sinner of the 6 realms, let alone the sinner of the 3 realms. Jianmu, there's no way to chat if you talk like this. Zhongling, are you still talking at a time like this? Jianmu couldn't win the argument and directly dragged Zhongling down. Think of another way. You. Jianmu was probably laughing out of anger. He pointed at Shi Sheng and Zhongling. Good. You're still protecting her at a time like this. If anything happens, I'll see how you explain it. Jianmu, you're so noisy. Lu Yun picked his ear. When Jianmu glared at him, he suddenly kicked him. Jianmu subconsciously wanted to use his spiritual power to defend. When he realized that he couldn't use his spiritual power, Lu Yun had already kicked him. Jianmu's body was forced to slide back a distance. Whoosh! When the flames touched his clothes, the fire burned in the blink of an eye. The fire was too fast. When everyone reacted, Jianmu's entire body was enveloped in flames. Zhongling and the others finally extinguished the fire on Jianmu's body. Jianmu was burned black, leaving only a pair of eyes. The raging anger was like the flames burning behind him. Lu Yun stood at the side and gloated. I told you to watch your feet. Linlang silently took a step back. This man was so scary. Lu Yun glanced at her and snorted coldly. Zhongling stopped Jianmu from causing trouble for Lu Yun. Because the flames blocked the way, The group could only rest here for the time being and think of a solution. Yao Qin and Zhong Ling stayed together and looked timidly at Shi Shang and Lu Yun. Celestial supremacy, why is Qi Li immortal unwilling to take us over? Zhong Ling did not know how to answer this question. He had never known what she was thinking. Didn't you tell me that with great power comes great responsibility? Yao Qin put on the appearance of a good student. Qi Li, immortal monarch, is so powerful. Why does she always get to do whatever she wants? Zhong Ling. Because she was amazing. Even the immortal emperor couldn't do anything to her, so who would dare to ask her to bear any responsibility? Immortal Venerable, why aren't you saying anything? Zhong Ling. What do you want me to say? He had nothing to say. There was also night here. The flames were even more unbridled in the dark night. Every cluster of flames seemed to have a life of its own. They had no sound, but they could not be ignored. Shi Shang walked over from the edge. The flames seemed to be afraid of her, and the flames immediately weakened. Shi Shang stretched out his hand, and the flame continued to wither. Amazing! As expected of the female lead's avatar. While Shi Shang was having fun, he suddenly heard a scream behind him. Shi Shang turned around and saw that it was a mess. There were black shadows flying around them, disrupting their formation. Shi Shang saw Jianmu standing at the edge. Her eyes darkened, and she moved toward him. Coincidentally, Jianmu was separated from the main group by the black shadows. Shi Shang drew his iron sword and slashed the black shadow. The black shadow dissipated in the air and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Jianmu panted. Qi Li, don't think that I will be grateful to you just because you saved me. There's no need for that. Shi Shang's lips curved. Because I'm here to send you to your death. Jianmu's eyes widened. A cold light entered his eyes along with the dancing flames beside him. A terrifying power poured down from the top of his head. All the light in his eyes was extinguished in an instant. Darkness. Silence. Death. Shi Shang turned his head slightly and looked at the shocked Lin Lang. 3 seconds later, he calmly threw Jianmu's corpse into the flames beside him. The flames rose high and covered the corpse. Lin Lang retreated with a pale face. What kind of person did she meet? Lin Lang couldn't help but retreat. She bumped into something and felt a chill on her back. Her delicate shoulders were held by someone, and a cold breath climbed up her neck. You didn't see anything just now. She killed. Lin Lang couldn't say a complete sentence. You didn't see anything, the voice behind repeated. Lin Lang was about to cry. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. Hearing this, the person behind her let go of her and walked past her to Shi Shang. He said with dissatisfaction, Little Phoenix, why did you kill him in front of others? Lin Lang felt a chill all over her body. She didn't know how she had offended him. He could talk to her in such an intimate tone, but when he turned to look at her, it was as if he had turned into a demon. Who knew that she would suddenly come over? Shi Shang didn't mind and smiled evilly. Why don't we kill them together? Lu Yun touched his chin. Little Phoenix's suggestion is good. Shi Shang thought that Lu Yun would refuse. Who knew that he would agree directly? There was something wrong with the plot. Could it be that Lin Lang really wasn't Lu Yun's lover in her previous life? Lin Lang felt that these two people were too dangerous, so she turned around and ran. Who knew that she would bump into a black shadow behind her? Lin Lang was lifted into the air by the black shadow and fell straight down. Lu Yun watched the entire time without any intention of saving her. In the end, Ling even stepped in to save her. Hey! Don't tell me you two are in love with each other. Did she lie to you in your previous life? Did she lie to you about your body and your heart? When you realized that you had been cheated, did you already fall in love with her? Shi Shang poked Lu Yun. He couldn't stop his imagination from running wild. Bah, who's in love with her? Lu Yun looked disgusted. Little Phoenix, why are you like Si Zhu? Why do you keep thinking about these strange things? Shi Shang. This is a normal routine. What's strange about it? Moreover, your behavior is very strange to begin with. If it's an enemy, why don't you just go up and kill him? Lu Yun was a little unconventional. Shi Shang had a hard time imagining things. He needed to fill in the blanks. She took out a handful of melon seeds and asked the person beside her, "Do you want some melon seeds?" Lu Yun spread his hands. Thus, the two of them squatted at the edge of the fire and ate melon seeds while watching the people being attacked by the black shadows. Ling and the others were on the verge of breaking down. They were fighting with their lives on the line, but the two of them were squatting together and eating melon seeds. Can't they show some love to their own kind? Do these black shadows think that they are easy to bully? Why are they surrounding them and not attacking those two? ## seeking Protoss psychological trauma ## you guys are in charge of fighting. I'm in charge of watching the show ## little fairy seeking monthly votes #. Chapter 1163. The Black Shadows were not as numerous as the gods. In the end, they retreated in defeat and hid in the darkness in the distance. What was that? A god asked with lingering fear. He helped Ling Baoyoken up from the ground and said in a hoarse and dark voice, "Devil." The surroundings immediately fell silent and looked at each other. After a while, a miserable god raised his hand and asked, "Aren't the devils sealed? Why are they outside? Could it be that the seal has already—" Impossible. If the seal was broken, the three realms wouldn't be so peaceful. Did any of you see Immortal Supremacy Jianmu? This voice pulled everyone back from their thoughts. Everyone quickly looked around and did not see Jianmu. He was still here. Why is he gone? Could he have been captured by those things? They did not have any spiritual power now and their strength was weakened. If they had not outnumbered those things, it would have been impossible for them to win. Lin Lang glanced at Shi Shang and Lu Yun. The two of them were still eating melon seeds and did not seem to care about the situation here. What should she say? Or should she not say? Thinking of Lu Yun's terrifying appearance, Lin Lang decided to pretend that she did not see him. She could not even save her own life, so how could she have the time to care about others? Ancestors, please protect me. Everyone looked around but could not find Jianmu. In the end, they could only conclude that Jianmu had been captured by those things. Therefore, they now had another mission, to find Jianmu. Shi Shang and Lu Yun did not mention anything about watching from the sidelines. These two people could be completely ignored. No matter what they did, they should not consider her and the others. Immortal Supremacy, we can't delay any longer. That's right. Immortal Supremacy Jianmu has disappeared. If we continue to stay here, who knows what will happen? We have to think of a way to enter. They were here to repair the array formation. Before they came, they were already prepared to die. After pondering for a while, Ling Chen summoned his genuine Shenyuan sword. Shi Shang's eyes lit up. Sensing Shi Shang's gaze, Lu Yun asked curiously, "Little Phoenix likes this sword?" Shenyuan sword. An ancient divine artifact. Lu Yun nodded. It's quite powerful. Shi Shang took out his iron sword and urged the iron sword, "Sword, kill it and you'll be the real one." Tai Jian. He didn't really want to. It just wanted to be a pirated version in peace. Lu Yun. He seemed to remember that this sword of hers was also called the Shenyuan sword. Moreover, its power didn't seem to be any weaker than the Shenyuan sword. However, he had experienced many vicissitudes of life, and had never seen such an ordinary iron sword. Little Phoenix, what is the origin of your sword? Guess. Lu Yun. If I could guess it, would I need to ask you? Why is it also called Shenyuan sword? Shi Shang rolled his eyes. It was originally called the Shenyuan sword. Shi Shang continued to instigate the iron sword to get rid of the original Shenyuan sword and let it take its place. However, the iron sword was obviously unwilling. Let's not talk about the things it did in the past. Now, it actually wanted to act so arrogantly against the real deal. Host, has your brain been damaged by the system? Pretentious Shang came online. How can you not be arrogant in life? Iron Sword. You're the master. You can do it. I'm not going anyway. Shi Shang. You want to go against me now? Iron Sword. Go, 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 go now. Anyway, I've already chopped houses, dug soil, and smashed eggs. It's no big deal to fight a sword again. Before the Iron Sword moved, the original Shenyuan sword had already waved the flames away, revealing a passage big enough for people to pass through. Iron Sword. It looked at Shi Shang. Shi Shang didn't look at it. He stared into the depths of the flames with a serious expression, as if he wasn't the one who had instigated it just now. Iron Sword silently retracted. Since the master didn't notice it, it would do it next time. Zhang Ling had already led people through the passage. He didn't call Shi Shang and Lu Yun. He was probably completely disappointed in Shi Shang. Lu Yun followed first. Shi Shang didn't think that he was doing it not for the seal, but for Lin Lang. As for his motive, Shi Shang really couldn't tell. Zhang Ling used the Shenyuan sword to open a path in front. The further they went, the more difficult it became for Zhang Ling. The Shenyuan sword didn't recognize a master? Shi Shang asked Lu Yun in surprise. Recognized a master? Lu Yun seemed to have heard a funny joke. How can such an ancient divine weapon recognize a master? As long as it had the word ancient, it was a very impressive existence. Unless it was a mighty figure who had existed since ancient times, it was impossible for others to subdue it. Zhang Ling was only keeping the Shenyuan sword. Perhaps after a long time, he could reluctantly use the Shenyuan sword. Iron Sword buzzed twice. Master, now you know how good I am, right? For an impressive existence like me, those stupid mortals don't even have the right to be recognized as my master. It didn't recognize a master. No wonder Zhang Ling couldn't beat the male lead back then. Whoosh! The flames swept past them. The passage had already shrunk to the point that only one person could pass through. It was the kind that required one's entire body to be stretched into a line. Ah! Following this scream, Lu Yun suddenly dodged to the side and pulled Shi Shang along with him. Lin Lang was knocked to the ground. The hem of her clothes caught on fire, and the flames immediately spread up her clothes. Lu Yun pulled Shi Shang back. Little Phoenix, are you all right? Shi Shang. You don't care about Lin Lang? I'm really angry. Even if she was an enemy, he should go up and give her a few kicks, right? But he just watched coldly from the side as if she was an insignificant stranger. What should he do with this idiot who didn't follow the rules? Should he beat her up? The person in front of Lin Lang quickly turned around and extinguished the fire on her body. Miss Lin Lang, are you all right? Lin Lang was a little frightened, but her body wasn't injured. She shook her head slightly. I'm sorry, are you all right? Yao Qin's voice came from the front. She was protected in Zhang Ling's arms. It was probably because of her that Lin Lang was knocked down. I'm fine, Lin Lang replied. She glanced at Lu Yun and shrank her body in fear. She avoided the flames around her and turned to continue walking forward. After walking for a while, Lin Lang suddenly said, "The seal is in front." Shi Shang didn't know how Lin Lang could tell, but the surrounding environment was indeed a little different from other places. Hearing that they were about to arrive, no one dared to relax. They became more and more nervous. Whoosh! The temperature of the flames seemed to have increased. Even with their immortal bodies, they could feel the scorching heat. It was as if a hole was being burned through their skin. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, Zhang Ling was probably at his limit. The Shenyuan sword that he swung out didn't open up a new passage. The flames closed up again like a tide. ## begging for votes from the stars and flowers today. ## begging for monthly vote series. ## don't ask me why I'm stuck, because a little fairy who isn't stuck isn't a good fairy. Chapter 1164. The flames were closing in too quickly. They could only watch as the flames covered the sky and covered the earth. They were like ferocious monsters with their mouths wide open, ready to swallow them whole. Many people's eyes were filled with fear. They were gods, but they were also afraid of death. Even if they had said before that they would repair the seal even if they died, no one would not be afraid when they were truly faced with it. Just as everyone was waiting for death in fear, the flames suddenly retreated, and even the temperature dropped significantly. A straight path appeared in front of everyone. They could even vaguely see the array that was previously covered by the flames. Everyone. The iron sword flew over their heads and deliberately paused in front of the Shenyuan sword. The Shenyuan sword ignored it at first, but a few seconds later, it was angered. The golden sword trembled and pushed Zhongling away. It flew towards the iron sword. Clang! The two swords collided. Sparks flew everywhere. The flames withered and waves of air surged. In the blink of an eye, the two swords disappeared from everyone's sight. The sound disappeared. Other than the path that had been opened, nothing was left. After a long while, Zhongling looked at Shi Sheng. Shaoli, what's going on? Shi Sheng crossed his arms and stood behind him like a gangster. He smirked. How would I know what's going on? They just want to learn from each other. What can you do about it? Zhongling. He was not the owner of the Shenyuan sword and could not communicate with it. Naturally, he could not summon it back unless the Shenyuan sword was willing to come back. But Zhongling's expression turned serious. Shaoli, this is not a place to fool around. Hurry up and summon your sword back. Shi Sheng lied through his teeth. It doesn't listen to me. How can I summon it back? When it's done playing, it will naturally come back. You should worry about the array in front of us. Done playing? She actually described such a serious matter as playing. Zhongling's heart surged with anger. But when he looked at that face, he could not vent it. He took a few deep breaths and looked up at the sky. He quickly ordered, repair the array first. The others did not have any objections. The most important thing now was to repair the array. But Lin Lang did not want to go forward. Celestial Supreme, I've already brought you here. Can I go back now? She felt that if she continued to walk forward, she might encounter danger. Most importantly, she did not know how she had offended Immortal Lord Lu Yun. He was very terrifying. Miss Lin Lang, there are things outside that we encountered before. It's safer for you to stay with us. That's right, Miss Lin Lang. We can't spare anyone to send you back. Before Zhongling could speak, the others had already tried to persuade him. Although she knew that it would be dangerous to repair the array formation with them, it was also dangerous to let her leave alone. They were both in danger, so why didn't they stay with them? Perhaps the destruction of the formation was not that serious. Miss Lin Lang, they are right. Zhongling walked in front of Lin Lang. Although there is a certain amount of danger with us, it is more dangerous for you to leave alone. Lin Lang's cultivation level was average, otherwise, she wouldn't have needed someone to save her yesterday. Lin Lang weighed the pros and cons, and under the persuasion of these people, she finally decided to stay. She might not be able to walk out alone. Zhongling protected Yao Qin and continued to walk forward. Lin Lang was protected in the middle by the others, while Shi Sheng and Lu Yun were still at the back. When they arrived at the array formation, Shi Sheng finally saw the full appearance of the array formation. Countless talisman papers and thick iron chains formed a pentagonal pattern on the ground, and in the center was a black well. Black fog kept coming out of the well and was eroding the array formation. Some of the chains had already broken, and many of the talisman papers had been burned. If this continued, the array formation would soon be broken. How can this be? Everyone could not believe that the array formation had been so badly damaged. Immortal Lord, this is not good. Immortal Lord Jianmu is missing. With our strength, isn't it a bit difficult to repair it? Isn't there still Immortal Lord Lu Yun? The person who said this spoke in a very soft voice. Would that scum Immortal Lord Lu Yun help? Zhongling glanced at Shi Sheng and said in a low voice, check the extent of the damage. Yes. Little Yao, stay here with Lin Lang. Yao Qin nodded obediently. Be careful, immortal lord. Little Phoenix, do you feel that something is watching us? Lu Yun mimicked Shi Shang and squatted beside her. Shi Shang was still a child, so it did not affect her squatting. However, Lu Yun was a man. It was a little strange for him to squat without caring about his image. So what if I feel it? So what if I don't feel it? Shi Shang glanced at him and asked indifferently. Lu Yun did not listen to Shi Shang at all and continued, You feel it too, right? These things must be demons. I don't know how they came out. Little Phoenix, why don't we try to lure them out? No. Why would they go looking for death? There was cat biscuits. You go there, I'll go here. Lu Yun pointed in two directions and had already divided the route. F***CK. Why don't you listen to me? I refuse. Do you know how to refuse? Idiot. Shi Shang silently moved to the side. Don't stay with an idiot. I'll be infected easily. Lu Yun noticed that Shi Shang's movements were completely different from what he said. Little Phoenix, what are you doing? Shi Shang looked disgusted. He did not want to talk to idiots. He was afraid that he would be infected. Lu Yun was speechless. What kind of look was that? Lu Yun suddenly became excited again. Little Phoenix, look. Shi Shang had already seen that there were black figures approaching the array formation from the flames in the distance. They lingered in the flames and did not come out. They moved very quickly. If Shi Shang and Lu Yun had not squatted at the edge and watched the show, they probably would not have noticed them. They're not afraid of fire, Lu Yun muttered. What are they planning to do? A sneak attack? Idiots. Shi Shang rolled his eyes, got up, and quickly retreated. Seeing Shi Shang run away, Lu Yun shouted at the top of his voice. Hey, Little Phoenix, why are you running? If you don't run, are you going to wait for them to invite you to a day trip to hell? Shi Shang's voice came from afar. Lu Yun scratched his head. Yes, I should run now. After all, I don't know what the enemy is. Lu Yun also ran with Shi Shang. His voice was very loud. Everyone on the other side of the array formation heard him. Naturally, they also noticed the black figures that were faintly discernible in the flames and were surrounding them. Shi Shang and Lu Yun ran too fast. At this moment, they had almost disappeared into the tunnel that had been opened that day. Master Immortal, the flames are closing. Someone pointed at the tunnel. Everyone looked in that direction at the same time. The tunnel that was wide enough for 5 or 6 people to hold hands and straighten had shrunk by half. Moreover, it was still shrinking. Monthly votes. Monthly votes. Monthly votes. Sob. Monthly votes. Chapter 1165. Shi Shang ran out of the fiery area and panted with his hands on his knees. By the time Lu Yun came out, she had already returned to normal. She was in a pretentious posture, looking coldly at the closing passage. Her gaze was calm, and the dancing flames in her eyes gave off a strange coldness instead of a blazing heat. Lu Yun panted and began to complain, Little Phoenix, you're too disloyal. You didn't even wait for me. Shi Shang glanced at him and suddenly threatened, If you continue to talk nonsense, I'll throw you back. Lu Yun covered his mouth with both hands and took a few steps back. Suddenly, something bumped into him from behind, and his body fell forward uncontrollably. Shi Shang was in front of him, and Shi Shang turned his feet and easily dodged to the side. Lu Yun fell from her side and fell to the ground. Lu Yun. Little Phoenix was not cute at all. Lin Lang, who had bumped into someone, looked at the person on the ground with a pale face and bowed. I'm sorry, immortal sage. She saw that they were still very far away, but for some reason, they suddenly appeared in front of her. She did not have time to stop. It's over. She had bumped into this demon who disliked her to the ground. Would he strangle her to death? Lin Lang looked at Shi Shang. This little girl did not seem to be easy to talk to. She would definitely not speak up for her. She was dead meat. Your dead meat. Shi Shang's gloating voice overlapped with her inner thoughts. Lin Lang wanted to cry, but no tears came out. What did she do wrong? Lu Yun got up from the ground and ignored Lin Lang. He groped around on the ground and pulled out a long spear from the soil. Little Phoenix, look at this. This is something from the immortal realm. Shi Shang was surprised that Lu Yun did not get angry at Lin Lang. He glanced at the long spear. What's wrong with something from the immortal realm? This is the place where the demons are sealed. It's normal to have things from the immortal realm. Lu Yun stood up with a long spear in his hand. His expression was slightly serious. This was left behind from the battle in the Huang Sea. It can't be here. The Huang Sea? Don't tell me it was the battle when she first arrived? The area where the desolate sea was destroyed was reduced to nothingness. They didn't disappear. Instead, they fell here. Lu Yun paused and began searching on the ground. He found another spear a few steps to the side. Lu Yun was very sure now. This is the desolate sea. Shi Shang was speechless. Extremely strong spatial pressure and magnetic field would cause spatial distortions, which would lead to the formation of spatial passageways that led to other places. The power she used that time should be able to cause spatial distortion. Amazing. So, the problem with the demon race's seal was caused by me? There's nothing to be proud of. Host, you're simply bullying others by casually speeding up the plot. Originally, this Shi Shang female lead was still learning all kinds of knowledge, but now she had jumped directly to the ending of the plot. Shi Shang defended himself. I didn't bully anyone. I bullied the male and female leads. She wouldn't bully them while they were still young. Once they grew up, she would have to take her lunchbox and dog with her. I didn't do anything wrong because I didn't want to take the boxed lunchbox with me. Why do you think you were able to trap the male lead last time? The system suddenly threw out a question. Shi Shang was suspicious. Isn't it because I'm more powerful than him? That's because it's not time for the male lead to come out yet, so you were able to trap him successfully. You sped up the time for them to meet, but it's not time yet, so the rules won't help the male lead. Wait a minute. What do you mean, I sped up the time for them to meet? What did I do? Buttface, I'm telling you, don't blame everything on me. When I get angry, even I'm afraid of myself. Why do you add an "oh" after every sentence? Are you crazy? Eyes willing, so it's none of your business. So, what's the purpose of telling me this? No purpose. I just want to let the host know. The system answered in a methodical manner. Shi Shang was speechless. Buttface, you've also learned to not follow the rules. You're going to be punished by me. I'm used to it. Shi Shang was speechless. When Buttface is fearless, he's also quite arrogant. Shi Shang made a bold guess. Are you trying to tell me that it's almost time for the male lead to come out? The system didn't say anything. It probably went offline. Buttface? De Guzzi? Little Guzzi? Black Guzzi? Shi Shang couldn't take out his tablet and force himself to go online, so he had to give up. Little Phoenix, what are you thinking about? Shi Shang looked at the hand that was waving in front of him and hit it impatiently. I'm thinking about your death. Little Phoenix, why are you so cruel? Lu Yun covered her chest with her hands and took a few steps back. I saved you. Once. Okay, Little Phoenix, what do you think about this? He was the one who saved her. She didn't appreciate it. Little Phoenix, you won't have any friends like this. I don't think so. She didn't even hear what he said, so why should she think so? Of course, how could she say such a degrading thing out loud? Just as they were having a friendly conversation, the passage had completely disappeared and turned back into a flaming paradise. Zhongling and the others didn't appear. Boom! A dull sound came from the sky. Something in the distance was coming towards them at high speed. Rumble! A golden light came down from the sky. Wherever the golden light passed, whether it was the flames or the plants, everything turned to ashes. The most dazzling golden light fell into the depths of the flames. Black smoke rose into the sky like a mushroom cloud. When the golden light touched it, it was annihilated in the air. It was extremely strange. Lu Yun looked in that direction and said in a low voice, "The demon sealing spell has been broken." In the next moment, he laughed coldly as if he was a different person. A cold aura surrounded him. After sacrificing so many people, it still broke in the end. Lu Yun licked his lips and looked at Lin Lang. "Since the spell has been broken, there's no need to keep you alive." Lin Lang's heart beat wildly. Immortal. Immortal. Lu Yun approached Lin Lang step by step. "Back then, he forced a part of my soul and a part of my spirit to ensure your loyalty. Now, it's time for you to come back. But why are you a woman? This is a little hard to understand." As he spoke, the cold aura around Lu Yun disappeared. It was as if they were hallucinating. "Shi Shang. This plot doesn't make sense at all. What happened to my side mission? Why did he finish it all by himself? Asterisk, this is a fake group." Little Fairy. "Hey. 1 minute passed. 2 minutes passed. Little Fairy. Why isn't anyone talking? 1 minute passed. 2 minutes passed. Little Fairy, they're all dead? Pure concubine. They blocked you. Little Fairy." "What? Cherub. Traitor. Pure concubine. I'm going to fight for my position. Cherub. Little Fairy, why did you block me? Cherub. Once. No date. No ticket. Goodbye. Little Fairy." Chapter 1166. Lin Lang had a part of Lu Yun's soul in her body. Logically speaking, she should be a man. Why was she a woman? Lu Yun expressed his confusion. However, this did not stop him from retrieving his soul. "Immortal? What are you talking about?" Lin Lang trembled all over. Why couldn't she understand at all? Lin Lang wanted to retreat, but her legs refused to listen to her. They were so weak that she couldn't move. "You don't need to know." Lu Yun reached out and held Lin Lang's forehead. Lin Lang only felt a pair of cold hands on her forehead like a poisonous snake. Her body trembled even more violently. Oh my God, what did she do? She just wanted to live on. Something in her body was being pulled out. The pulling of her soul caused her body to twitch and spasm. Pain spread throughout her body. However, she couldn't make a sound. She could only stare at the man opposite her with wide eyes. His eyes were clearly reflected in her pupils. However, she wasn't in the mood to appreciate his beauty. At this moment, there were only 2 words: cold and painful. The process of extracting the soul wasn't long. Shi Shang counted silently. It was only about 10 seconds. Lu Yun moved his hand away from Lin Lang's head. He opened his hand, clenched it, released it, and clenched it again. After repeating this a few times, Lu Yun finally smiled. "Little Phoenix, do you know how comfortable it feels to have a complete soul?" "I've always been complete." Shi Shang stared at Lin Lang. "She's not dead." Lin Lang's face was covered in cold sweat. Her body swayed as if she was about to fall. However, she stood stubbornly. The depths of her eyes were filled with fear for Lu Yun. She looked very pitiful. Lu Yun looked up at Lin Lang and frowned slightly. "Why aren't you dead yet?" Lin Lang. "How do I know I'm not dead yet? I also wished that I was dead." Lu Yun stepped forward again and grabbed Lin Lang's wrist. His brows gradually furrowed. After a long while he said, "Her soul is complete." "It shouldn't be." Lin Lang couldn't take it anymore. She closed her eyes and successfully fainted. Lu Yun was forced to support Lin Lang. He turned to ask Shi Shang, "Little Phoenix, why isn't she dead?" Shi Shang's lips twitched. "You can just stab her and she'll be dead." How simple. Lu Yun. He knew it was useless to ask her. Lu Yun lowered his head and continued checking Lin Lang's body. There must be something wrong. Shi Shang looked into the distance. The black fog was getting thicker and thicker. The golden light was already covered by the black fog. The flames began to extinguish from the inside out. The places where the flames were extinguished were charred black. The iron sword fell from the sky and stabbed straight in front of Shi Sheng. Lu Yun, who was beside him, was shocked. When he saw what was falling, he calmed down. Shi Sheng picked up the iron sword and looked around. There was no damage. It seemed that the Xian Yuan sword had been destroyed. That's awesome, Wu Li Jian. The iron sword. The sword was tired and didn't want to speak. That was the real Xian Yuan sword, the real one. Perhaps every Xianxia plane has a genuine copy like this. The genuine copy isn't here at all. What you did is just a pirated copy. Everyone has a responsibility to crack down on piracy. Iron sword. Although I feel that Master is talking nonsense, Master is talking nonsense in such a serious manner that I can't help but believe him. No, it was a pirate itself. How could it fight against piracy? Master, don't raise flags. In such a short time, the flames were all extinguished. The ground began to tremble. The sound of chains being pulled and broken was particularly clear. Countless black shadows rushed out from the ground and formed human silhouettes in the air. An evil aura swallowed up the space. Little Phoenix, let's go. Lu Yun carried Lin Lang and returned the way they came. Why are you bringing her? It wasn't that Shi Sheng was talkative. She was surprised that Lu Yun suddenly poked his nose into other people's business. There's something wrong with her. I have to figure it out. Lu Yun quickly answered, there's something wrong with your body too. Little Phoenix. You have to see a doctor when you're sick. You're delaying. Hey, Little Phoenix, wait for me. Lu Yun had always been concerned about her body. He always said that there was something wrong with her. But she didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Even if there was, it wouldn't affect her. At most, she could just go offline. As long as she wasn't killed, Shi Sheng could accept it more easily than drinking water. Probably because they realized that Shi Sheng and Lu Yun had run away, the demons behind them caught up and attacked without saying a word. However, they couldn't use spiritual power and could only rely on themselves. Shi Sheng was fine. After all, he still had the ability of the iron sword. If he really couldn't do it, he could still throw energy balls. Killing demons was a piece of cake. The demons were easy to deal with, but the natural disasters weren't so easy to deal with. When they had already moved to the periphery, the mountain range behind them suddenly began to sink. More and more black shadows emerged from the bottom. Demons could be seen everywhere. Ah! A person suddenly fell in front of Shi Sheng. Or rather, it wasn't a person. It was a demon. He screamed as he fell to the ground. Before he could get up, he was grabbed into the air by a demon beside him. A few demons instantly ate him. Blood sprinkled down from the sky. The ground was red, and the smell of blood drifted in every corner. Shi Sheng. So cruel. So scary. I'm scared to death. I should quickly kill a few demons to calm myself down. More and more demons fell from above. Most of them were eaten by demons before they could even see where they were. Chapter 1167. By the time Shi Sheng arrived, the group of people had already finished killing the demons. But for some reason, a conflict broke out in the group and several people were chased out. You're shameless. Someone outside shouted unwillingly. A burly man inside mocked, we're shameless, but what's the difference between you and us? Weren't you very arrogant when you relied on Qi Li's support? Why aren't you arrogant now? That little girl must have died a long time ago, right? Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not dead. A slightly childish voice sounded from the side. The voice was calm and monotonous. The young girl stood on a protruding rock at the side, a faint smile on her young but delicate face. A silent wind blew past, and her skirt fluttered in the wind. The fiery red phoenix seemed to want to fly out of her skirt and soar into the sky, crying out to heaven and earth. Miss Qi Li? The people standing outside were pleasantly surprised. Compared to their surprise, the burly man who had mocked her just now had an ugly expression. A thin and dark figure jumped out from the group of people who had been chased out. Miss Chi Li. It was the young man from before. This person helped her manage a group of little demons. She naturally remembered that he could be considered one of her people. Shi Sheng waved his hand. Come here. The young man immediately smiled and called for the others to trot over to Shi Sheng. Are you okay? Shi Sheng nodded slightly and glanced at the burly man who didn't look too good. What happened? The young man immediately told Shi Sheng the whole story. When they fell in, they happened to be in this valley. At that time, there were no demons in the valley. They only discovered the demons after they went out. Because there were no demons in the valley, they retreated. Then they met the burly man and his group who had fallen into the valley like them. Perhaps because there were more demons, the smell became stronger. The demons gradually came to the valley. At first, there were only a few demons. They worked together to kill them, but later, there were more and more. Later, his people found something in the valley. With that thing, the demons didn't seem to see them. Even if they walked past them, they wouldn't attack them. But just now, the number of demons suddenly increased. That thing seemed to be unable to stop so many demons. Some of them were discovered. Since they had been exposed, they had no choice but to kill them. What happened next was what Shi Sheng had seen earlier. The brawny man had chased them away and snatched the item away. Shi Sheng looked in the direction of the young man's finger and saw something that looked like a turtle shell hanging on the man's waist. It had traces of polishing and gave off an evil aura. It probably didn't belong to the Protoss. It was not surprising that the demon race had dropped their demonic tools outside when they were sealed. Because it belonged to the devil race, the devil race did not attack them. Chi Li. Miss Chi Li. The burly man had been very confident when he hadn't seen Shi Sheng, but when he saw her, he began to tremble. He handed the item over with trembling hands. I was just joking. I didn't mean anything else. Bah. The young man retorted bluntly, Your joke is forcing us to our deaths. Can we joke with you too? The burly man braced himself and explained, It's a misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. The next moment, the burly man's eyes widened in disbelief. You talk too much. Shi Sheng withdrew his iron sword and walked into the valley. The people behind the burly man turned and ran. When they were a certain distance away from the burly man, the devil race that had been hovering around the area swarmed forward. Screams rang out in the valley. The young man and the others followed behind Shi Sheng. No one sympathized with them because they had brought this upon themselves. However, Miss Chi Li seemed to have become more powerful. What should they do? They admired Miss Chi Li even more. After leaving the valley and returning to the surface, Shi Sheng saw the same tragic scene. The devil race had already arrived at Devil Town. Shi Sheng returned to the place where she had stayed before. There were many demon beasts huddled there. When they saw them return, it was as if they had seen their biological father. Shi Sheng had stuck a talisman here. It was probably because of the talisman paper that they had not been swept down. Miss Chi Li, there are demons outside. They covered the sky and the sun. It was scary just looking at them. Shi Sheng stood by the window and took a look. How many of us are there? More than 100. Shi Sheng rummaged through the space and somehow found a big thing that had been thrown into a corner. This thing should still be usable, right? Let's give it a try. Shi Sheng walked to the open space and released the big thing. Everyone's vision darkened and the sound of buildings collapsing filled their ears. A round metal thing appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Miss Chi Li, what kind of Dharma artifact is this? It's so big. The young man looked up at the huge object in front of him and could not hide his surprise. It's so big. I've never seen such a thing. I've never seen such a thing either. Miss Chi Li, what is this thing? The visual impact of this new thing was huge. It's a spaceship. Shi Sheng touched his chin and said, How is this big? An aircraft carrier is big. A spaceship? Can it fly in the sky? What's an aircraft carrier? Miss Chi Li's words were so strange. Nonsense. Otherwise, why would it be called a spaceship? Shi Shang rolled his eyes at the young man and answered only one question. Even if she answered the latter question, they would not understand. Host, this spaceship belongs to the Special Forces of the Interstellar Alliance. May I ask, where are you from? There was no way it would mistake that symbol. There were only two uses for the Special Forces of the Interstellar Alliance. Either it was used by the Special Forces or it was destroyed. It would never appear anywhere else. Shi Shang rolled his eyes. I stole it. Why would I make one? Host, what level are you on the Interstellar Alliance's blacklist? It was not surprising that the host stole a spaceship. However, she stole a spaceship from the Special Forces of the Interstellar Alliance. She should at least be on the SSS level blacklist, right? Shi Shang sneered. Guess. You want to analyze I's identity? Dream on. Guess my ass. Shi Shang ignored the system and walked to the cabin door. Perhaps it had not been open for a long time, but the door was tightly shut. Shi Shang knocked on it a few times before he pried it open. The people behind him were like Granny Lu entering the Grand View Garden. The cabin was very clean. Shi Shang checked it and found that everything was normal. It was just that there was not much energy left. However, it should not be a problem to fly around. I'll take you flying. Shi Shang stood on the highest platform of the spaceship's control room and quickly activated the various functions of the spaceship. The others were already stunned. They could not imagine these things at all. Is the cabin door closed? Shi Shang suddenly looked up and asked the young man. The young man shook his head stupidly. He was full of questions. What was the cabin door? Was it the thing she opened just now? How did she close it? Shi Shang lowered his head to control it for a while and found that he could not close it. He had to close it himself. Shi Shang stuck a defensive talisman on it. The demons outside could not enter. She looked at the demons who kept hitting the spaceship and silently gave them the middle finger. The demons were despised and hit the spaceship even harder. Shi Shang was about to close the cabin door when Lu Yun rushed out from the left and went straight to the spaceship. Chapter 1168. When he reached the cabin door, Lu Yun crashed into the transparent barrier. His entire body, along with Lin Lang, was sent flying and fell onto the roof behind him. Little Phoenix! Lu Yun shouted at Shi Shang in exasperation. Shi Shang! Are you blaming me? How would I know that you would suddenly rush out? King retard. Lu Yun jumped down from the house with Lin Lang and rushed towards the spaceship again. This time, he didn't barge in recklessly. Instead, he reached out to touch it. When he touched the door, he felt a tingling sensation. Then, he felt a strong push. Lu Yun quickly retracted his hand. Little Phoenix, let me up. Haven't you recovered your strength? Fly back yourself. Shi Shang's smile was evil no matter how one looked at it. It made one want to beat him up. And Lu Yun really wanted to beat him up. Shi Shang pulled the valve, and the cabin door closed with some difficulty. Lu Yun's face was gradually blocked. When the cabin door finally closed, Shi Shang seemed to see Zhang Ling rush out with his men. Shi Shang returned to the control room. In the surveillance camera, he saw Zhang Ling and Lu Yun standing together. The female lead was actually still alive. Shi Shang pursed his lips and started the spaceship. The huge object suddenly began to move, and the surrounding devils were frightened and retreated one after another. They also did not know what this ice-cold disc was. Most of the devils were curious, and a small number of them wanted to eat the demon beasts inside. Shi Shang only raised the spaceship and had no intention of leaving. The demons watched for a while. Perhaps they felt that their teeth weren't that good and couldn't bite through this large disc Dharma artifact, so they attacked Zhang Ling and the others below. Shi Shang sat on a chair. The scene below was projected into the air. Miss Chi Li? This Dharma artifact is so powerful. Not only could it carry people, but it could also see the scene outside. It was more powerful than any Dharma artifact he had ever heard of. This must be a divine artifact. Shi Shang. Dharma artifact my ass. Forget it, I won't argue with them. Shi Shang told him what not to touch. Halfway through, she stood up and stuck talismans on the places that were not to be touched. Then, she left them to play by themselves. The spaceship wasn't too big. It could only be considered a medium-sized spaceship. However, it was enough for these little fairies who hadn't seen the world. Because Zhang Ling was carrying the burden of the female lead Darren and didn't have the Shenyuan sword with him, he was attacked by the demons several times. Lu Yun, that scum, definitely wouldn't help them. He took the opportunity to run away with Lin Lang. Before he left, he even gave Shi Shang the middle finger. He had learned this gesture from Shi Shang. He didn't know what it meant, but every time Shi Shang did it, all he saw was disdain. Zhang Ling must have known that the thing hanging in the sky belonged to Shi Shang. He tried to get closer to the spaceship several times, but he gave up only when Shi Shang rose the spaceship to a higher altitude. Zhang Ling and the others were trapped there. Shi Shang was woken up by Yao Qin's shout in the middle of the night. Celestial supremacy, leave quickly. She turned the light up a little and looked at the scene on the screen. Zhang Ling was injured. The wound was on his chest, and it was emitting waves of black gas. It wasn't the kind of special effects. Only 2 of the people he had brought with him were left, but they were both in a half-dead state. Only Yao Qin was in perfect condition. Take little Yao away. Zhang Ling pushed Yao Qin to the other 2. Celestial supremacy. Let's go. The other 2 set up Yao Qin. After Zhang Ling attracted the attention of the demons, they quickly rushed out. However, Yao Qin was unwilling. She kept struggling to go back. No matter what the 2 said, Yao Qin wouldn't stop. The 2 of them were worried about Zhang Ling, so they rushed back again. If they were a step later, Zhang Ling would probably be dismembered by the demons. Yao Qin pounced to Zhang Ling's side. She used the broken blade on the ground to cut open her wrist and fed it to Zhang Ling. Not only was Yao Qin's blood great for demons and demons, but it was also great for gods, who asked her to be born at the beginning of the world. All the demons seemed to be coming this way. A panicked voice resounded through the night. Yao Qin was shocked. She quickly covered her wrist to stop the bleeding. Demons were very sensitive to blood. Zhang Ling drank the blood and recovered some strength. He risked his life to bring her out. The other 2 gods didn't escape. This was something that couldn't be helped. If they wanted to break out, there would definitely be sacrifices. Zhang Ling didn't have time to remember them. He took Yao Qin and escaped. Once he shook off the demons, Zhang Ling fell unconscious. With Yao Qin as a milk bottle, Zhang Ling didn't die. However, the power in her blood was very pure. Zhang Ling's body was weak and couldn't digest it, so he didn't wake up. Yao Qin kept feeding him. If she kept feeding him, he would explode and die. Yao Qin brought Zhang Ling to hide from the demons that were rushing out. This became a problem. Shi Shang kept following them. Yao Qin would occasionally look up. One day, she finally couldn't take it anymore. She climbed up a slope and shouted at the spaceship. Qi Li Immortal Lord, I know you're in there. Please save the Immortal Lord. Qi Li Immortal Lord, the Immortal Lord was so good to you in the God realm. Why didn't you save him? How can you be so cold-blooded? The Immortal Lord was so good to you. Why didn't you save him? Yao Qin shouted hysterically on the slope. However, no one responded to her. The disc hung in the air. It didn't even move. It was like it was silently mocking her. On the spaceship, Shi Shang held his chin and looked at the projection expressionlessly. Why did she have to save Zhang Ling? She never asked Zhang Ling to be good to her. Since it was one-sided, why should she respond? Moreover, he wasn't good to her. It was the original owner. The original owner's last wishes didn't include this. As a player, she had to do her job well and not cause trouble. This was the best strategy to play to the end. Besides, she didn't even bring Lu Yun, let alone Jiangling. She was cold-blooded and willful. If she didn't like it, she would hold it in. Yao Qin looked down at Jiangling with disappointment and softened her voice. Immortal Lord Chili, if there comes a day when you need someone to lend you a helping hand, but no one is willing to lend you a helping hand, you will experience that despair. Shi Shang. The word despair was no longer in her dictionary. She never had hope in anyone. How could she feel despair? When you have hope, you will be disappointed. After disappointment, there will be despair. And despair will push you into the abyss. It was better not to have this kind of thing. She just needed to set her goal and accomplish it. Yao Qin stood silently for a while. Maybe it was because she shouted too loudly and attracted the wandering demons. Yao Qin could only drag Jiangling to find a place to hide. The demons were too scattered. They couldn't find Yao Qin. Just when Yao Qin thought she had avoided a disaster, a large group of demons suddenly surged over. They almost occupied half the sky. They moved very quickly. In the blink of an eye, they were in front of her. #today. Please buy tickets for the Taste of Trumpet Flowers #begging for recommendation tickets on Monday. Begging for monthly votes. Let me say something here. My cute cherub, don't go to other books and talk about me, Sheng. If you like it, you have to find the right way. It's easy to attract hate. I'm also an author. I don't like readers to talk about other books under my book reviews. If you like it under this book's review, it's fine. Love you guys. Chapter 1169. Yao Qin was probably frightened. She only regained her senses when the demons were right in front of her. She dragged Jiangling to a more secluded place to hide. Maybe the demons were too stupid, or maybe it was the protagonist's aura, but the two of them were not discovered. Yao Qin covered her mouth and nose, nervously watching the demons pass by. All the demons were about to pass by. Boom! Yao Qin's vision suddenly darkened. The rocks behind her started to fall. Something fell and splashed on her face, quickly wiping away the blood. The unique fragrance attracted the demons in the sky. They stopped at the same time and looked in Yao Qin's direction. Yao Qin froze. She slowly raised her head to look at the sky. Behind the demons, there was a girl in a black dress. Yao Qin's eyes widened. It was her. Why? Why did she have to kill them? She had never offended her. Why did she hate her so much? Would she only be happy when she saw her die? She didn't even hesitate to kill Ling Xianzun, who treated her so well. How could her heart be so evil? Yao Qin's vision was gradually blocked by the demons. She could not see the person in the sky, but she knew that she was there. She was there, watching. Shi Shang did not stay any longer. The female lead was probably going to break down even more. As long as she broke down, it would be easier to deal with her in the future. Shi Shang piloted the flying ship back to the heavenly realm in a domineering fashion, amidst all sorts of surprised, shocked, and strange gazes. The heavenly soldiers guarding the gate almost went crazy when they saw such a huge thing. Shi Shang drove the flying ship back to South Wu Mountain and parked it outside. The Immortal Emperor heard the news of her return and personally came to look for her. The Immortal Emperor was shocked when he saw the huge thing. But he had more important things to do now, so he chose to ignore it. Qi Li, where's Jiangling? Shi Shang was coming down from the flying ship. Hearing the Immortal Emperor's question, he calmly glanced at the Immortal Emperor. How would I know? I wasn't with him. The Immortal Emperor frowned. What was he talking about? You didn't go together? Shi Shang rolled his eyes. His words were sarcastic. Can't you guys come back separately? Am I his pendant? Do I have to be with him? The Immortal Emperor. He didn't say anything. Was there a need to be so agitated? The Immortal Emperor moved his lips and suppressed the anger in his heart. Is Lu Yun with you? They're dead. Shi Shang walked out of the airship and asked the young man to bring the other beasts down. The young man was clearly a little uneasy. This was the god realm. The young man did not dare to disobey the Shang. After a moment of hesitation, he called the monsters behind him to follow him down. All of them tried to pretend to be calm, but their stiff expressions and bodies betrayed their feelings at this time. Excitement, complexity, apprehension, fear. All kinds of emotions intertwined, making them feel very panicked. A large group of demonic beasts came down. The immortal emperor's eyes widened. "Qi Li, what did you bring back?" Shi Shang was speechless. He didn't understand these people in the sky. They knew what it was, but they still had to ask if there was a cat biscuit. Less nonsense and more action could save a lot of time. "Qi Li." Shi Shang ignored him. The immortal emperor was furious. "Do you still respect me, the immortal emperor?" Shi Shang turned around and smiled evilly. "Never." The immortal emperor. Shi Shang's rebellious words would have been dragged out of the immortal punishment platform and killed if it were anyone else. "Qi Li, the situation is urgent now. Don't throw a tantrum. Where are Zhongling and Lu Yun?" The immortal emperor's expression was cold. The aura around him suddenly became strong, and the air seemed to freeze. The demonic beasts were already panicking. After being frightened by the immortal emperor, some of them directly knelt on the ground and trembled. Shi Shang glanced at them and gestured at the young man with his chin. "Bring them in." The young man's face was a little pale, but he could barely hold on. He hurriedly asked the demonic beasts who were still standing to help all the demonic beasts into the boundary with the parasol tree as the boundary. As soon as they entered the boundary, the pressure on them disappeared, leaving only a gentle and comfortable spirit Qi. When the immortal emperor saw that Shi Shang was ignoring him, his aura became even fiercer. His deep voice pierced through the eardrums. "Qi Li, because you are the only phoenix in this world, I turned a blind eye to what you did before. Don't think that I can't do anything to you. What can you do to me?" Shi Shang smiled provocatively. "Do you have to go against me?" Shi Shang spread his hands innocently. "Immortal Emperor, when have I ever gone against you? I answered your question, didn't I? You don't believe me and force me to answer you. What can I do? I'm also in despair. I really don't know where Lu Yun and Zhongling are. You don't believe me and even say that I'm going against you. You're King retarded. I'll ask you one last time. Where are Lu Yun and Zhongling?" The immortal emperor clearly still didn't believe Shi Shang. Shi Shang's eyes were filled with coldness. "I'll answer you one last time. I don't know." The immortal emperor's face was gloomy. Suddenly, he took out an item from his pocket. Shi Shang raised his eyebrows slightly. He drew his iron sword and quickly attacked. The immortal emperor's heavenly soldiers immediately stepped forward to block him. Shi Shang waved them away. Before the immortal emperor could use the item, he flicked it out of his hand. The item was flung into the air and fell in a parabola. Shi Shang jumped slightly and accurately caught the item. The immortal emperor. Shi Shang held the small jade bottle in his hand and looked at it. "What is this?" The immortal emperor didn't answer. He suddenly raised his hand and waved his bright yellow sleeve. A white powder came flying toward Shi Shang. Shi Shang reflexively held his breath and waved his iron sword. The white and pink powder was all deflected by the sword Qi and covered the immortal emperor's face. Shi Shang quickly returned to South Wu Mountain. He sneered and threw away the bottle in his hand. Even the immortal emperor knows how to play tricks. What happened to light, justice, civilization, harmony, freedom, equality, justice, the rule of law, patriotism, professionalism, honesty, and friendliness? Wait a minute. Something strange seemed to have been mixed in. Forget it. Who cares? The immortal emperor touched his face. The powder was only effective against phoenixes. It was useless against others. He looked at Shi Shang, who was standing inside, and waved his hand. "Capture her." She had repeatedly challenged his bottom line. Did she really think that he was afraid of her? As the immortal emperor, Would he allow her to do as she pleased in the divine realm? The answer was, of course no. However, the immortal emperor was soon slapped in the face. His men couldn't even take half a step into South Wu Mountain. He knew that there was a barrier around South Wu Mountain. He had thought that it was just an ordinary barrier, but now he realized that it wasn't an ordinary barrier at all. The immortal emperor ordered his men to summon the other divine tribes. He had to get Shi Xing out today. He wanted her to know who was the true ruler of the divine realm. Chapter 1170. Everyone from the heavenly realm came, and all kinds of cool special effects flashed across South Wu Mountain. But in the end, no one could break the barrier of South Wu Mountain. The group of people outside looked at each other. This was King Impregnable Fortress. In fact, if it weren't for the immortal emperor's orders, they wouldn't be willing to offend the person inside. The devil race's methods were bloody and cruel. Although her methods weren't bloody and cruel, they were definitely much more terrifying than bloody and cruel. When she insulted people, she would make them wish they were dead and wish they had never come to this world. Shi Xing sat on a chair woven from parasol tree branches and munched on melon seeds. He leisurely reminded them, "Do you want to go back and discuss a plan before coming back?" Immortal Emperor, Immortal Lord Qi Li didn't do anything wrong. Maybe she really doesn't know? A god spoke up for Shi Xing. Zhang Ling and Lu Yun's whereabouts were very important, but if she said she didn't know, it was possible that she really didn't know. This was a small matter, and there was no need to make a big deal out of it. If an external enemy invaded and caused internal strife, it would be troublesome if the devil race took advantage of the situation. The immortal emperor calmed down and felt that he had been impulsive just now. He didn't know what was wrong with him, but when he saw how arrogant she was just now, he wanted to teach her a lesson. But in this situation, as the immortal emperor, wouldn't it be too embarrassing for him to leave just like that? A sensible god immediately paved the way for the immortal emperor. Immortal Emperor, Immortal Lord Qi Li is of the Phoenix race's bloodline. For the sake of the Phoenix race's achievements in the past, please forgive this lowly person. The immortal emperor pressed his fist against his lips and coughed. Then, who are you calling a lowly person? Before the immortal emperor could finish his sentence, the person inside exploded. Who's a lowly person? Everyone. It wasn't easy for the immortal emperor to find a way out, but he was starting to cause trouble again. What was he going to do? They were also very innocent, okay? The immortal emperor's anger flared up again. He shouted angrily, "Look at her attitude. Is she in charge of the heavenly realm? If you're willing to give up your position, I can do it for you," Shi Xing said with a smile. "Qi Li, you want to rebel? It's not like you haven't done it before. A host who treats rebellion as a common occurrence is so scary." In the end, the group of gods dragged the immortal emperor away. Even if it was disgraceful, it was still better than a real fight later. Shi Xing heard that Lu Yun had returned, but he returned to his palace the moment he returned and never came out again. Similar to Shi Xing's South Wu Mountain, not many people could open the barrier outside Lu Yun's palace. Then, Zhang Ling, Yao Qin, and Xiao Bai, who had been missing for a long time, returned. Little White hopped around outside South Wu Mountain for a while. Shi Xing ignored it, so it could only look for Lu Yun. However, Lu Yun didn't have the time to bother with it. Little White was enraged and began to wander around the divine realm, causing the divine realm to become even more chaotic. Yao Qin had to take care of Zhang Ling, so she didn't have time to take care of it. Even if she managed to take care of it once, it would run away again in the blink of an eye, causing her a lot of trouble. Yao Qin was already very tired, and she still had to clean up Xiao Bai's mess. She was getting more and more irritated. "Stay here. You're not allowed to go out again. Do you hear me?" Yao Qin grabbed Little White and stuffed it into a cage. Little White rolled around in the cage. When it realized that it was very small, it immediately became angry. "Let me out." She actually locked itself in such a small cage. Yao Qin squatted outside and was very angry. "You cause trouble the moment you go out. I'll let you out when you learn to be obedient. Little White used its body to hit the cage, wanting to get out. Yao Qin stood up. I borrowed this cage from the immortal emperor. Don't waste your energy. Little White's body bulged, deflated, and then bulged again. It refused to believe it and used its mouth to bite the cage. Before its mouth could get close to the cage, a piercing pain spread from its mouth. Yao Qin glanced at it, shook her head, and left. Ferocious beasts were indeed difficult to change their ferocious nature. Why did she contract with it back then? She had to find a way to break the contract between her and Little White. Little White tossed and turned in the cage for a long time, curling itself into a ball unhappily. When it and that annoying fellow Qi Li were causing trouble in the divine realm, she would help it destroy the evidence. Woo, I won't say anything bad about you anymore. The previous owner was better than this owner. She was not its owner. After they returned, the devils that had been roaming all over the place suddenly disappeared. No trace of the devils could be found in the 3 realms. The devils would not disappear for no reason. They must have gone into hiding. But what was their purpose in hiding? The divine realm was very chaotic. The enemy was hiding in the dark. No one knew what they wanted to do. This feeling was like knowing that someone wanted to kill you, but you did not know when the killer would come. Zhang Ling recovered very quickly in the divine realm. Coupled with Yao Qin's blood, his strength improved a little. When he could move, the immortal emperor summoned Zhang Ling. Zhang Ling brought Yao Qin to the immortal emperor. The immortal emperor only frowned but did not chase Yao Qin out. Are you feeling better? Zhang Ling respectfully replied, I'm fine now. That's good. The immortal emperor heaved a sigh of relief, then turned serious. What happened on your trip? Why didn't Jianmu come back with you? Zhang Ling told the immortal emperor about what had happened in Devil Town, but he hid some details about the Shishang. Yao Qin was a little angry. Immortal emperor, Yao Qin has something to say. Speak. At the time, Qi Li immortal monarch was above us. She clearly had the power to save us, but in the end, she turned a blind eye. Then, she exposed Mai and her immortal monarch's location and had the devils attack us. Yao Qin did not exaggerate. She just angrily told the truth. Zhang Ling, is what Yao Qin said true? The immortal emperor looked at Zhang Ling, his eyes flashing with a deep dark light. Zhang Ling had long been disappointed in that little girl. When he saw Yao Qin's red eyes and remembered what Yao Qin had done for him when they returned, the scales in Zhang Ling's heart completely tilted. Yes. The immortal emperor slammed his hand on the dragon table in front of him, unable to restrain his anger. Qi Li has been arrogant for a long time, but now she's left her own people in the lurch. Is she even a member of the God realm? Zhang Ling, you were the one who promised me that you would guide her in the right direction. Now, look at her. What has she become? Zhang Ling hung his head. It's my fault. When she'd first acted arrogant and condescending, he'd promised the immortal emperor that he would teach her well. But most of the time, he couldn't even see her. Every time he saw her, it was when she was causing trouble. Once she was done, she'd leave without giving him a chance to speak. This is a fake group. Little Fairy. Causing trouble. Cherub. Who's causing trouble? Little Fairy. You all have it. Cherub. We all have it. Little Fairy. Sweet smile. You all know. Cherub. Why does it feel like something's wrong? Little Fairy. Votes. How dirty are you? Cherub. You're the one who's being too dirty, okay? Little Fairy. Chapter 1171. Since things had already happened, there was no point in pursuing the matter. Where did Jianmu go? Now that Lu Yun and Zhang Ling had returned, only Jianmu was left. Jianmu is missing. Zhang Ling's voice sank. When we were attacked by the fiends, no one noticed Jianmu. When it was over, they realized that Jianmu was missing. Immortal Emperor's expression turned ugly. He was abducted by the fiends? Zhongling did not know. He did not see Jianmu being abducted by the fiends, but he did not know where he went. All he could do was remain silent. Immortal Emperor took it as a tacit admission. There were very few immortal supremacies to begin with. Losing an immortal supremacy was like adding fuel to the fire for the Celestials. It gave Immortal Emperor a headache. The fiend's seal has been broken. They will definitely make a comeback. Zhongling, you are the bravest war god of the Celestials. You also have the Shenyuan sword's help. I can only leave this heavy burden to you. Zhongling's expression turned slightly ugly. He lifted his clothes and knelt down. Zhongling, what are you doing? Immortal Emperor was confused by his kneeling. Zhongling took out the broken Shenyuan sword from his cosmic bag. Immortal Emperor, please punish me. The Shenyuan sword is broken. Immortal Emperor's pupils constricted as he stood up from the dragon throne in agitation. What did you say? The Shenyuan sword is broken. Zhongling repeated with difficulty. Immortal Emperor came down from above and took the broken sword from Zhongling's hand. How can the Shenyuan sword be broken? Zhongling pursed his lips and did not answer. Zhongling, this is a divine artifact, an ancient divine artifact. How can it be broken? Why is it broken when you speak? Immortal Emperor's loud questioning echoed in the hall. However, Zhongling remained silent. Yao Qin could not stand it any longer and said, "It was done by Immortal Lord Blotzi's sword." Yao Qin could not figure it out. She had already treated him so badly, yet he still wanted to hide it for her. It's her again? Immortal Emperor laughed in anger. Is she that capable? She can even break the Shenyuan sword? Zhongling sighed. It's the sword in her hand. Immortal Emperor had seen that sword before. It was a very ordinary sword, but that ordinary sword had nearly overturned his whole. What sword is that? Is it also an ancient artifact? Among the ancient artifacts, only the Shenyuan sword was a long sword. The rest were not swords. Zhongling pondered for a moment before saying, I heard her and Lu Yun say that the sword is also called the Shenyuan sword. The Immortal Emperor looked at the broken sword in his hand strangely. It was also called the Shenyuan sword? Do you mean that one of the Shenyuan swords is fake? The Immortal Emperor found his voice after a long while. His hand that was holding the broken sword was trembling. According to the current situation, the Shenyuan sword in his hand seemed to be fake. Zhongling shook his head. No, Immortal Emperor. The records of the Shenyuan sword match it, and the Shenyuan sword has always been in the God realm. It can't be fake. As for the sword in Xiao Li's hand, I've never seen it before, but its power far surpasses the Shenyuan sword. Although he didn't want to admit it, this was the truth. The Celestial Emperor nodded repeatedly. Yes, yes, how could he suspect that the Shenyuan sword of the God realm was fake? The Shenyuan sword had always been in the God realm. That meant that her side was fake. And it was a fake Shenyuan sword that was even more powerful than the real one. Why did he feel that something was wrong? How could a fake be more powerful than the real one? Shisheng found out from Lu Yun that she was being sued. She didn't care much, but Lu Yun looked anxious. Little Phoenix, you're in danger now. Do you want to move in with me? It's pretty good here. Ever since that group of demon beasts came, the entire South Wu Mountain became lively. Why would she want to move? It wasn't that easy for those idiots to deal with her. Lu Yun didn't force it because he knew that it wouldn't work. He wisely changed the topic. Little Phoenix, what's that thing outside of you? He was looking at the spaceship. The last time he was chased out by her, he was in too much of a hurry and didn't look at it carefully. There weren't any fluctuations on it. It wasn't an artifact, nor was it a divine artifact. So what was this big guy that could fly in the sky? Lu Yun was very curious. You want to know? Shisheng raised her eyebrows. Lu Yun nodded. His eyes were full of curiosity. It was never too old to learn. I'm not telling you. Lu Yun. Little Phoenix was becoming less and less cute. Little Phoenix, I didn't even hold it against you for what happened before. Why are you still so heartless? It's not the first time I've been heartless. Do you have a problem with that? Not only was Shi Shang not ashamed, but he was also proud of it. Lu Yun choked. Ever since he met this little girl, she had indeed been so cold-hearted. He had never seen her care about anyone. She coldly rejected everyone from her world. No one could touch her at all. He was suddenly very curious. What would it be like if she cared about someone? Lu Yun pestered Shi Shang for a long time but couldn't find out what that thing was. In the end, the young man told him that it was called a spaceship. It relied on a special material to fly in the sky. As for what the special material was, the young man said that he didn't know. Lu Yun really wanted to experience it, but the young man said that other than Shi Shang, no one knew how to activate it. Lu Yun thought that the possibility of asking Shi Shang to pilot the spaceship for him was zero. He took the initiative to give up. After chatting with Shi Shang for a while, he prepared to leave. After taking a few steps, he turned back. His neck was pressed against the transparent barrier as he looked at the person inside. Little Phoenix, do you want to know something? Shi Shang's mind spun quickly. What? Lu Yun was silent for a few seconds. Yun Mo came out. Shi Shang's expression didn't change. How did he come out? As expected of the male lead. He could even come out like this. I don't know. This was what was puzzling. No one knew how he came out. When they found out, he was already gone, and the array was intact. Shi Shang. Isn't this cheat a little too obvious? Mr. Plot, you'll be beaten up if you do this. Even I didn't have a cheat. Why did the male and female leads have a cheat? I'm not convinced. I want to report this. You're a cheat yourself. Why do you need a cheat? I want the newbie gift pack. Why do you still remember the newbie gift pack? How many years has it been? Because you didn't give it to me. If others have it, why don't I have it? I'm not convinced. I told you, there's no newbie gift pack. Then give me a veteran gift pack. No, nothing at all. Goodbye, host. F*CK, even legitimate companies give year-end bonuses. Why don't you give them the Best Employee Award? Hee, we're not a legitimate company. Shi Shang. This is a little awkward. Are you unregistered? The host is tricking the system again. So scary. I need to go offline. Shi Shang pursed his lips. You won't get pregnant if you talk more. Why are you so scared? The system was devastated. It wouldn't get pregnant, but it would die. Oh no, the system would die. When the host finished tricking it, it would definitely be torn apart by the host. It would never talk to the host again. Chapter 1172. The sudden disappearance of the demons must have something to do with Yun Mo. She wondered if the male lead had turned even more evil after being locked up by her. Why was she suddenly so excited? Shi Shang rubbed his hands together, ready to kill the male lead. But where to find him was a problem. The world was so big. She didn't want to go out. She would meet demons and be attacked by them. She was afraid. Shi Shang took out the system and forcibly located the male lead's position. But when he saw the male lead's position, Shi Shang was a little dumbfounded. He was in the realm of the gods. Awesome. Oh, the male lead. World War, come on. I'm ready. Shi Shang went to find Lu Yun. He crossed the Huang Sea and arrived at the palace from before. Before he entered, he heard Si Zhu scream. Immortal Master Qi Li is here again. Shi Shang. It wasn't a girl. This was the first time he was here since that time, right? Why was he here again? Shi Shang cut open the barrier and entered. He grabbed Si Zhu, who was running inside. Why are you running? Do you think I'll eat you? Si Zhu's face was pale. She trembled. Chi. Eat what? Don't stammer. Speak properly. I. Si Zhu stuttered even more. She wanted to speak properly too, but she couldn't control herself. Immortal Master Qi Li, don't scare Si Zhu. She's timid. Nian Dong heard the noise and ran out. Si Zhu nodded pitifully. She was timid. Don't scare her. Nian Dong, save me. Immortal Master Qi Li is so scary. Nian Dong comforted Si Zhu with her eyes. How did I scare her? She didn't do anything. Nian Dong. You're just standing there. You're scaring her. This silly child was scared by you back then. Of course, Nian Dong didn't dare to say this. It would be disrespectful. Immortal Master Qi Li, if Si Zhu did anything wrong, I apologize on her behalf. Please don't take it to heart. Shi Shang let go of Si Zhu and asked Nian Dong, where's your Immortal Master? Immortal Lord is not here. Does Immortal Lord Chili have any urgent matters? Nian Dong replied in a tone that was neither servile nor overbearing. Shi Shang looked at Si Zhu, speechless. Why are you yelling if he's not here? Si Zhu rolled and crawled behind Nian Dong. She grabbed Nian Dong's arm and trembled. She stammered, I couldn't help it. Shi Shang waited for Lu Yun to return. Si Zhu ran far away to wait, afraid that Shi Shang would find trouble with her. She still remembered the look in her eyes when she had just come out of the immortal death pool. It wasn't bloodthirsty and sinister, nor was it hatred or anger. It was just a very calm gaze, but that gaze was very scary. Si Zhu, why are you so afraid of me? Nian Dong, help. Si Zhu was frightened by the face that suddenly enlarged in front of her. She backed away with a pale face. Si Zhu, why are you yelling? A pair of hands held her from behind and pulled her into an embrace. Si Zhu almost burst into tears when she heard the familiar voice. Immortal Sage. You're finally back. She was scared to death. Lu Yun asked Si Zhu to stand properly and looked at Shi Shang. Little Phoenix, why are you here to scare Si Zhu? Was the immortal realm tired of playing with his people? He couldn't enter South Wu Mountain, but she could come in whenever she wanted. Why was it so infuriating to compare immortals and immortals? Shi Shang squatted on the steps and said innocently, I find it strange too. Do I look that scary? She looked at me as if I killed her entire family. Lu Yun shook his head and patted Si Zhu's head. Go find Nian Dong. Si Zhu couldn't wait to leave. She nodded like a chick pecking at rice, then slipped away. Lu Yun walked up the steps. Little Phoenix, you don't come here for no reason. What do you want from me? Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. Where's that girl? Which one? How many do you have here? Shi Shang looked at Lu Yun as if to say, I didn't know you were such a beast. Lu Yun was speechless. Lu Yun thought for a moment and understood who she was asking about. He sat beside Shi Shang. I sent her away. Sent her away. TSK. She thought something would happen between them, but he sent her away just like that. Indeed, this idiot didn't follow the rules. Serves him right that he didn't even get a cannon fodder. Why are you asking about her? Lu Yun was puzzled. You can't be here for her, right? Shi Shang raised his chin. Of course not. I'm here to ask you if you want to fight or not. No. Who would want to fight with this lunatic? He wasn't crazy. I'm not the one fighting with you. Lu Yun was shocked and incredulous. You're letting someone else beat me? What was this idiot thinking all day? I'm asking you if you want to fight with me. Lu Yun heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that it wasn't him. Who? Yun Mo, what do you think? Are you going? Her instincts told her that this guy had a grudge against Yun Mo. Lu Yun's eyes flashed. Then he shook his head. I can't beat him. I'm not going. I'll help you tie him up. Shi Shang continued to instigate him. One word, are you going or not? Other than saying go, What else could he say? If you miss this opportunity, there won't be another one. Other people ask me for help in seconds. I'm a cool villain. If you can beat him, you can go by yourself. Why are you dragging me along? Lu Yun turned his head away. One more person means one more person to bear the risk, Shishang said matter-of-factly. Lu Yun. I was wondering why she was suddenly so kind-hearted. Are you going or not? Stop dawdling. Are you a man? Go. Perhaps it was the last few words that provoked Lu Yun. He shouted loudly. Kill the male lead, and the team was officially established. It was a dark and windy night. It was time to kill and rob. Lu Yun squatted on the roof and scratched his head. Little Phoenix, are you sure Yunemo is here? This was Zhang Ling's palace. Shishang squatted beside him. You don't believe me? After a while, Lu Yun squeezed out a sentence. It's not very credible. He couldn't say that he didn't believe her. If he said that, he would definitely be beaten up. Shishang smiled sweetly and leaned closer to him. How about a bet? Lu Yun glanced at her from the corner of his eyes and suddenly changed his words. I believe you. Since Yunemo is here, why are we squatting here? Shishang rolled his eyes. Didn't you squat here first? You were the one who stopped first. Lu Yun gritted his teeth. There were people patrolling below. If he didn't squat down, would he wait for them to catch him? Then she didn't move. She didn't move, so he didn't move. The latter shrugged innocently. I stopped to wait for you. Lu Yun. He couldn't win against her, so he'd better shut up. He took a deep breath. Where are we going? Zhang Ling's palace was quite big. Who knew where Yunemo was hiding? Asterisk begging for votes, 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 begging for votes. Chapter 1173. Before Lu Yun could react, Shishang and Yunemo had already exchanged blows. The items in the storeroom were all crushed under the pressure of their auras, turning into fine powder that scattered in the air, dazzling everyone's eyes. Yunemo didn't have a weapon, so he was at a disadvantage. Furthermore, he was still injured, so he was completely suppressed by Shishang. Boom! Bang! The entire roof was blown away by a strong force. Lu Yun looked up silently, counting down the time it would take for the patrolling heavenly soldiers to arrive. 5, 6, 7. Who's fighting here? A loud shout came from the flat ground. What answered him was an even louder rumble, and a piece of building debris flew towards them. The heavenly soldiers. Why were the male and female leads so difficult to kill? The reason was that every time he thought he could kill them with one move, the air would suddenly freeze, and the male and female leads' reactions would exceed their limits and avoid being hit. Shishang was very angry. If he couldn't kill them, then he would just tie them up. After all, there was a free killer here. Shishang made a feint, and when Yunemo was defending himself, he suddenly disappeared. Yunemo lost his target and looked around vigilantly. Just as he turned around, a cold light came down on him. He instinctively reached out to block it, but the cold light didn't continue. Instead, a golden light flashed, and his hands were bound by the golden light. The golden light quickly wrapped around his body and tightened. His body lost balance and fell from the sky, crashing into the ruins. Yunemo wanted to break free from the thing that bound him, but he couldn't. The heavenly soldiers were faster than Shishang. They surrounded Yunemo first, and the leader was Zhongling, Yunemo. Seeing the person clearly, Zhongling was also very surprised. Why are you here? They all thought that Yunemo had already left the heavenly realm. Who knew that he was still here, and in his palace? Yunemo lay on the ground, and he had to look up to see Zhongling. This position was somewhat humiliating, so he looked away and didn't say anything. A soldier would rather die than be humiliated. He had been defeated by that little girl, and he was in despair. Zhongling was silent for a while, then he picked him up and pushed him to the heavenly soldiers beside him. Shi Shang rushed down from the sky and said to Zhang Ling, "Hey, I caught him. Give him to me. You actually want a share of my spoils of war. How scary." Zhang Ling narrowed his eyes and looked at Shi Shang as if he was looking at a stranger. "Qi Li, he is a sinner of the God realm. The God realm will punish him." "Bullshit. I caught it. Why should I give it to you?" Shi Shang glared. "In the God realm, everything has to be done according to the rules." Shi Shang. "Rules my ass. Where is I's sword?" "Qi Li, what do you want to do?" Zhang Lingjian raised his sword and scolded sternly. "Now is not the time for you to mess around. Zhang Ling, Yun Mo was indeed caught by Little Phoenix. You just took him away like this. How could she not be angry?" Lu Yun stood a little further away and looked over. "It's better if you give her to Little Phoenix. If she goes crazy, you'll be in trouble. This is the God realm." Zhang Ling suddenly became stubborn. Shi Shang raised her sword for a long time without bringing it down. Suddenly, she turned around and walked towards the ruins. Zhang Ling was already prepared to fight, but she suddenly left, causing him to be confused. However, Yun Mo seemed to have guessed what she wanted to do and struggled agitatedly. "Qi Li, if you have any problems, come at me. It has nothing to do with her. Then I'm also very desperate. They want to keep you, so I can only think of a way to get you over," Shi Shang said without turning her head. Yun Mo was so anxious that her eyes turned red. She yelled at Zhang Ling, "Give me to her. Zhang Ling, give me to her." Zhang Ling. Who would go up to die? She obviously wanted to kill him. "Zhang Ling, quickly give me to her." Yun Mo's voice became louder. Zhang Ling didn't understand and naturally didn't agree to Yun Mo's request. Shi Shang had already used his iron sword to sweep away the ruins and dug out Yao Qin, who was buried under the rubble. Yun Mo set up a barrier around Yao Qin and protected her in a semicircle. The seemingly sturdy barrier was broken by the iron sword with a single poke. Yao Qin just woke up and saw the little girl standing in front of her with a sword. She screamed at the top of her lungs. "What are you screaming for?" Shi Shang glared at her and pointed his iron sword at her. "Stand up." Yao Qin's mind was filled with all kinds of memories. She remembered that she came to see that man. Then that man suddenly... She couldn't remember anything after that. Now, she saw this little girl the moment she opened her eyes. What was going on? What happened? "Little Yao." Zhang Ling heard Yao Qin's voice and rushed to the ruins. "Little Yao, why are you here?" "Qi Li, what are you doing?" "Master Celestial." Yao Qin's eyes reddened. "Little Yao, don't be afraid." Zhang Ling comforted her gently. "I'm here. You'll be fine." Shi Shang glanced sideways and pressed his iron sword closer to Yao Qin. His tone was harsh. "If you don't give Yun Mo to me, then I can't be sure if anything will happen to her. Master Celestial, you should know that my Shenyuan sword is very fast." The original Shenyuan sword had been destroyed. How could it not be fast? Zhang Ling didn't dare to take the risk. "You're using a little girl to threaten me. What kind of ability is that? Let her go first. We can discuss the rest." Shi Shang chuckled. "Master Celestial, you really know how to joke. I'm also a little girl. There's nothing wrong with threatening a little girl. It's very fair." In terms of appearance, she was even younger than the female lead. "Zhang Ling, you have the nerve to call yourself a little girl with that kind of fighting ability? Alright, enough nonsense. I'll say it one last time. Give her to me, or I'll kill her," Bandit Shang said domineeringly. Zhang Ling frowned. "Qi Li, are you making an enemy of the entire God realm?" Yun Mo said fiercely, "You're also making an enemy of the entire demon race." Shi Shang sneered arrogantly. "So what if I'm making an enemy of the entire world? Can you beat me?" Lu Yun clicked his tongue. He had seen arrogant people before, but he had never seen someone as arrogant as this. The things he had done before paled in comparison to this person. It wasn't even worth mentioning. I've already given you a chance. Shi Shang spread his hands. With a twist of his wrist, he stabbed towards Yao Qin. Qi Li, don't you dare. Stop. Zhong Ling and Yun Mo's voices overlapped. Zhong Ling rushed towards Shi Shang, but he knew that his speed couldn't be compared to hers. Yao Qin's eyes widened. Her face lost all color. Shock spread from her pupils and covered her entire face. She looked somewhat ferocious. In the nick of time, a pitch-black thing appeared out of thin air and hit the iron sword. The force was so great that the iron sword was knocked askew. The tip of the sword brushed past Yao Qin and landed on the ruins beside her. Shi Shang glanced at the thing that hit the iron sword. His gaze was calm and unwavering, but for some reason, it sent chills down people's spines. Little White shrank into a ball and defended itself loudly. I didn't do it on purpose. I couldn't control myself. It didn't want to go against her at all. Good night, Cherub. Chapter 1174. Little White was bound by Yao Qin. She must be the one who could control Little White. After Little White finished speaking, he pounced on Shi Shang again. His childish voice was still shouting, I really didn't do it on purpose. Master, save me. Shi Shang sidestepped Little White and slapped a talisman on his body. He quickly chanted a few words and cut his finger to drip blood on it. Break. The talisman turned into a ray of light and disappeared into Little White's body. Pfft. Shi Shang's sound and Yao Qin's sound of vomiting blood were heard at almost the same time. Little White's body suddenly lost its support and fell limply to the ground. He curled into a ball and rolled to a corner of the ruins. Yao Qin's horrified expression turned into astonishment when the contract was forcefully broken. The person who brought her to Zhong Ling told her that it was very troublesome to break the contract with her ability. She needed many things, including the blood of the phoenix. But she didn't give it to him, so he gave up. But now, it had only been a few seconds. How did she break the contract? What did I do to offend you? Yao Qin's face was pale as she asked word by word. She couldn't understand. You didn't offend me. Shi Shang's eyes seemed to be tinged with a smile. You offended Qi Li. This is my mission. I can't do anything about it. Yao Qin didn't understand. Aren't you Qi Li? No, I'm just someone who helped her fulfill her wish. Shi Shang's tone was light as he shamelessly praised himself. She's not as powerful as I am. Yao Qin didn't understand. When did she offend Qi Li? If the person in front of her wasn't Qi Li, then who was she? Her mind was in a mess. She clutched her chest in pain. When she moved, her robe was pulled down, revealing the ambiguous marks on her body. Zhong Ling was already in front of her, but now he was stunned. He stared at those marks with an obscure gaze. As a normal man, even if he didn't have a partner, he knew what it meant. From where she was exposed, he knew that she wasn't wearing anything. Yao Qin seemed to sense something. She pulled her robe to cover those marks. She looked at Zhong Ling with a pitiful expression. Celestial. Celestial. I was forced. Yao Qin was indeed forced. She wasn't lying. It's just... Female lead Darren, your official partner is over there. If you do this, your official partner will turn evil, hey. Shi Shang looked at Yun Mo. As expected, the latter's face was dark and gloomy. His eyes were filled with malice and anger, as if he wanted to dismember Shi Shang. This was a male lead who had already darkened. If he continued to be provoked like this, how dark would he become? Shi Shang withdrew his gaze and quickly swung his iron sword down. Zhong Ling could only watch helplessly as the iron sword sank into Yao Qin's chest. Shi Shang still felt a lot of resistance. She was already in this state, but the female lead halo was still there. Was it easy to be cannon fodder? So infuriating. I just want to complete a mission. Why is it so hard? Recovering from his shock, Jiang Ling immediately attacked Shi Shang with his palm. Shi Shang didn't have time to attack again and retreated to a safe position. If he had known earlier, he would have smeared some poison on his iron sword. No. Let's do it again. Shi Shang rushed forward again. The iron sword stirred up the spiritual energy in the air, forming a solid crescent-shaped wave of air. As she waved her sword, it swept across with majestic momentum. Jiang Ling was shocked by this majestic power. She could actually use the spiritual energy of heaven and earth at will. A person could use the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for their own use. In other words, their spiritual energy wouldn't be exhausted. As long as there was spiritual energy in heaven and earth, she could use it without limit. How terrifying was that? Jiang Ling thought back to when they first met. They both thought that it was her sword that caused that disaster. But now he knew that it wasn't. She used the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. How did she do it when she was just born? No one could answer Jiang Ling's question. He had to use all the spiritual energy in his body to prevent himself from being crushed by that power. Cough, cough. Jiang Ling propped himself up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He looked up at Shi Shang. The little girl who was standing there a moment ago was gone. Jiang Ling was shocked. He didn't notice when she disappeared. He turned back to look in Yao Qin's direction. Sure enough, he saw her there. Qi Li. Shi Shang didn't hesitate and stabbed at Yao Qin's heart. Crack. At that moment, something seemed to break. It was a very clear sound. Yao Qin's eyes widened. Her eyes were gradually covered with a layer of green light. At first, it was very thin like mist. But soon, it became thicker. Her body also began to emit green light spots. The light was very gentle, like the warm sun in spring. The light became thicker and thicker. Yao Qin's body slowly rose. Her outer robe fell off her body. The green light immediately covered the important parts of her body. The marks on her limbs were brushed by the green light and her white skin returned. Her slender and white limbs were faintly visible in the green light. It was very seductive. She was lifted into the air by the light. The green light spots flew around her like fireflies. Shi Shang had a bad feeling. She tried to get close to her, but she couldn't. The gentle green light blocked her. Even the iron sword couldn't cut her. Shi Shang. This was the power of the heavenly Tao. Shi Shang touched his chin with a melancholy face. It's over. When Yao Qin's body was completely covered by the green light, a dazzling green light shot into the sky. Then, it spread to every corner of the world. The whole world was filled with that gentle green light. The whole world seemed to be quiet. Everyone looked up at that ball of green light. After a long time, an ancient voice sounded between heaven and earth. The God of life has returned. Shi Shang. F*CK, 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 F*CK. This is too much. Why did she return after killing the female lead? What happened to the love trial? I can't accept this. Host, are you stupid? The male lead was the love trial. The female lead was the life and death trial. Shi Shang. She really didn't know. Damn, it wasn't in the plot. In the plot, the female lead didn't return to the God of life. Therefore, she failed to pass the trial. But because she used the body of a phoenix and was the last phoenix, the heavenly Tao didn't kill her and allowed her to return to the God of life. F*CK. What should she do now? The female lead was returned to the God of life. The male lead and female lead were definitely out of the picture. The ship was broken. But the mission was to kill them. What should she do? The God of life was in charge of the life and death of all things in the world. It belonged to the ancient God series. She couldn't give herself the title of an ancient god, could she? What title should she give herself? The God of death? The heavenly Tao must kill her. Shi Shang looked up at the rumbling thunderclouds in the sky. Her face was full of melancholy. The heavenly Tao, this little b*tch, wanted to kill her now. Fight with people and the heavenly Tao. Fight my ass. I want to collapse the plane. Anyway, if the plane collapses, the male lead and female lead will die. Great, let's do it. Host, calm down. Calm down. Shishang's face was cold. She couldn't calm down. This plane was 2F***ed up. Not only was she stuffed into ice as soon as she arrived, but now this happened. She couldn't take it anymore. Host, maybe she can still be saved. Why don't you try again? Whose fault was it that caused the current situation? Chapter 1175. The system knew that if Shishang said he wasn't going to do it, he meant it, unless Feng Ci suddenly appeared. However, it couldn't make Feng Ci appear out of nowhere. So, it was better to go offline. Pretend that it didn't know anything. Shishang looked up at the green light in the sky. He had a high chance of killing the two of them before she could react. Shishang turned to Yun Mo. Kill the male lead first. Yun Mo met Shishang's gaze and felt a chill run down his spine. He felt that the little girl in front of him was more like a demon. Shishang grinned. His smile was especially creepy under the green light above his head. Shishang swung his iron sword and rushed toward Yun Mo. She suddenly attacked while the others were still immersed in the sky. The people around Yun Mo didn't manage to stop her. Rumble. The sound of thunder echoed through the sky and shook everyone's hearts. Accompanied by a bolt of lightning that was as thick as an arm, the little girl in the black dress arrived in front of him like a bolt of lightning. The light of the lightning reflected off the metal sword, and along with the green light that filled the sky, it shot into Yun Mo's eyes, creating a very beautiful color. Rumble, rumble. The lightning tore through the sky and struck down in Shishang's direction. Shishang quickly sent the iron sword into Yun Mo's body. His arm was numb from the shock. A strong force rushed into his body and went straight to his dantian. At that moment, his dantian felt like it was burning. Shishang gritted his teeth and pulled out his iron sword. He dodged to the side. The lightning was about to hit Yun Mo. When it reached his head, it made a sharp turn and fell to the side, sending a few heavenly soldiers flying. F***ck. How could this be? Don't be so biased, heavenly Tao. The male lead was human, but the others weren't? Shishang took out an energy ball. Since he had already attracted the lightning, it wouldn't be a problem to have more. Of course, he had to make a big deal out of it. Shishang tossed the energy ball towards the male lead. Something strange happened. The lightning actually intercepted the energy ball and sent it flying back to where it came from. Shishang, you really can't play like this, I'm telling you. The energy ball would not recognize its owner. Although Shishang ran fast, he was still affected by the airwaves. He looked a little embarrassed. Little Phoenix, what have you done? Lu Yun reached out to help Shishang up and looked at the sky with an obscure gaze. That's the power of the heavenly Tao. Shishang wiped his face and warned Lu Yun, if you want to live, run quickly. Go to the void in the desolate sea. Lu Yun could tell that something was wrong with her tone and grabbed her. Little Phoenix, what are you trying to do? Shishang puffed out his chest, looked up at the sky, and declared boldly, save the world. Rumble. The lightning struck down mercilessly. Shishang immediately rolled to the side, and the lightning hit the side, sending dust flying. Lu Yun avoids the thunder and lightning and rolls to the side of the Shishang. He looks a little anxious. Little Phoenix, don't do anything stupid. Shishang felt very uncomfortable. Perhaps it was because of the rebound force when he stabbed the male lead. Lu Yun's voice circled around her ears and disappeared. She didn't hear what he said at all. Shishang shook his head and roared at Lu Yun, go to the void in the desolate sea. I'll remind you one last time. She had already reminded him. If he really died, he deserved it. Shishang leaped into the air, turned into a phoenix, and flew into the sky. The lightning chased after him, and the scene was particularly shocking. Shi Shang had transformed a few times when he couldn't control the transformation at the beginning. After that, he never appeared in the form of a phoenix again. It was only now that they realized that this phoenix was different from other phoenixes. Her tail feathers were black. If she was a black phoenix, it wouldn't be a big deal. But her entire body was golden. How could her tail feathers be black? Shi Shang faced the green light wrapped in lightning. These lightning bolts were obviously protecting Yao Qin. She had just returned to her position and needed to receive her memories and abilities. Shi Shang charged forward, and the lightning fell more and more frequently. The entire space was filled with terrifying pressure. Under such pressure, the things on the ground began to disintegrate and turn into dust. Lu Yun stood below for a while and retreated outside the storm. When he passed by a ruin, he bent down to pick up the unconscious little white and stuffed it into his sleeve. He looked back at the phoenix in the sky. He had a feeling that he would never see her again. When Shi Shang reached the center, he suddenly turned into a human. He pointed his iron sword at the sky. A hurricane appeared at the tip of the sword, and it quickly expanded into a tornado. The tornado sucked in the surrounding lightning, and purple light flowed in the middle. Just a glance at it was terrifying. The tornado began to split and spread in all directions. Soon, only the tornado and Yao Qin, who was still wrapped in a layer of lightning, were left in the sky. Yao Qin slowly opened her eyes. The green light quickly wove into a green dress on her body. She looked at Shi Shang, who was standing in the middle of the tornado, and said slowly, "Qi Li, do you want to destroy the world?" "Destroy the world? That's boring." Shi Shang sneered. Under Yao Qin's surprised gaze, he opened and closed his mouth. "Goodbye." Before Yao Qin could react to Shi Shang's words, she suddenly saw him disappear into the tornado. The cry of the phoenix resounded through the sky. It was clear, high, and arrogant. It was just like her. Yao Qin realized that the power in her body was beginning to dissipate. The power flowed out uncontrollably, and the whole world seemed to be shaking. The darkness split the sky into countless small pieces. The sky, which was still filled with thunder, was now gone. Only the sound of splitting was left. Those tornadoes spread into the distance, and everywhere they passed, everything collapsed and shattered. The darkness quickly invaded. The scenery below was collapsing. The faces disappeared, the buildings disappeared, and everything disappeared. She watched as Yun Mo was swallowed by the darkness. Yao Qin slowly raised her head. The phoenix in the tornado was burning with flames, as if it wanted to burn the three worlds. The phoenix was rising from the ashes. It was the most shocking scene in the world. Shi Shang returned to the system space. He rubbed his arms and asked the system in an unfriendly tone, "But face, tell me, why did I spontaneously combust in the end? When you first arrived in this world, Yun Mo hit you. He sent demonic energy into your body. Then there was the spell array and the celestial death pool. In short, it was a series of reasons that caused you to lose control of your power in the end." The system explained everything in one breath. Shi Shang gritted his teeth and asked, "So I was tricked?" Could it answer this question? Of course not. It would be beaten to death. Shi Shang was silent for a while. Suddenly he said, "Look at the sequel." The system was puzzled. Why did it suddenly want to see the sequel? It didn't even want to see it in the past. The system changed the scene on the screen to when the world started to collapse. Yun Mo and Yao Qin were definitely dead. Zhang Ling was also drowned in the darkness. It was unknown if he was still alive. Lu Yun brought some of the God clan to the void that Shi Shang mentioned. When the plane collapsed, it actually went around the void. And in the void, a new world started to form. Shi Shang saw this and asked the system to turn it off. The word count was exceeded. The remaining words were sent to the author has something to say. It didn't affect reading. It would be moved back tomorrow. Chapter 1176. Everyone knew that Princess Rong, Nanji, was a homosexual. Asterisk smack. Smack. Before Sher Shang could open his eyes, the first thing he felt was the pain in his buttocks. It was the kind of pain that felt like it was on fire. He could also hear the strange smacking sounds. She shuddered and opened her eyes abruptly. The first thing she saw was an elderly man sitting not far away. He was surrounded by people, wearing an imperial robe and had a dignified expression on his face. The Imperial Palace? F***CK. Why is it this damned place again? Smack. Ouch. Sher Shang couldn't hold back and let out a low cry. How could he not cry out when his buttocks were hit solidly by a board? When she turned around, the eunuchs standing beside her had already withdrawn their boards and retreated to the side. Is it over? No, I haven't lost my temper yet. Take Prince Rong away. The emperor's dignified voice sounded. As soon as he finished speaking, someone immediately came forward to carry Sher Shang away. Sher Shang. Calm down. Wait until I receive the plot, then I'll deal with you idiots. Miss Lu, are you satisfied now? Sher Shang hadn't been carried very far when she heard the emperor's voice ring out again. This time, it was clearly filled with anger. A woman's clear and melodious voice sounded from Sher Shang's left. Your Majesty is just and upright. Princess Anil is blessed by the heavens and will be fine. The emperor's voice became even more dignified. Miss Lu, if anything happens to Anil, you should consider the consequences. Sher Shang glanced at the woman who spoke out of the corner of his eye. She was very good-looking, wearing a light purple dress. Judging from her appearance, she didn't seem to be from the palace. That aura, calm and unhurried, with an inexplicable sense of confidence. There was always a faint smile on her face. She was definitely the female lead. Sher Shang. So, why was she called Prince Rong? What kind of crazy things did he do to the female lead? Sher Shang felt that he should calm down and wait until he finished receiving the memories. The Sher Shang soon couldn't hear the rest of the conversation. She was casually thrown into a palace hall. Two eunuchs arrogantly looked at her without the slightest bit of respect. Your Highness Prince Rong, you don't need us servants to apply medicine for you, do you? Sher Shang propped herself up on the bed so that her aching buttocks were in the air. She glanced at the two eunuchs and said nothing. Aya, your Highness has been spoiled since childhood. How could you be used to servants serving you? That's true. Then your Highness should apply the medicine yourself. The two eunuchs laughed arrogantly and left the room. Sher Shang heard the sound of the door being locked. It seemed that his body's condition was not good. All right, there wasn't a single time when it was wonderful. What a ridiculous counterattack. Sher Shang climbed onto the bed with difficulty and began to receive the plot. This was an ancient transmigration novel. The original owner was Nan Ji, Prince Rong of the Northern Liang Kingdom. She was clearly a girl, but her mother had forced her to raise her as a boy. Which concubine in the palace didn't want to give birth to a prince? Perhaps the emperor would be crazy enough to choose her. However, she was named Nan Ji. Such a feminine name had been laughed at by many siblings. Because of this, Nan Ji didn't have a good relationship with her siblings. With no one to play with, the original owner's personality became more and more eccentric. Later on, she realized that she was different from others. Perhaps because she had to suppress her feminine nature, she became even more arrogant and domineering. She bullied others with her power and was the perfect spokesperson for a hedonistic prince. The original owner's mother was very favored. She was the head of the 4 concubines and her family was very powerful. When she was alive, the original owner was almost the overlord of the imperial city. No one dared to provoke her. The original owner's life was not bad, but she was still a girl. There were times when she first fell in love. The tragedy began when she met Chu Luo. Chu Luo was a princess with a different surname. She was good-looking and had outstanding military achievements. She was the dream lover of all the girls in the Northern Liang Kingdom. The original owner fell in love with Chu Luo at first sight. However, she knew that she couldn't confess to Chu Luo. Once her identity was exposed, the crime of deceiving the emperor would implicate the entire family. However, when a girl named Lu Zian appeared beside Chu Luo, the original owner's jealousy was ignited. She started to court death and bully Lu Zian. However, this Lu Zian was the female lead of this novel. Lu Zian had transmigrated and her medical skills were superb. If she dared to go against the female lead, wouldn't the female lead deal with her? First, her mother fell out of favor and was involved in a concubine's death case many years ago. She was banished to the cold palace. Later, it was revealed that she was a girl. The Sima family behind her was involved in a corruption case. In a rage, the emperor executed the entire Sima family. There was no lack of the male lead's involvement in this. The original owner didn't expect the person she liked to be so heartless. The original owner hated Lu Zian. She had done something wrong, but she had never done anything to the Lu family. However, Lu Zian had directly attacked her mother and the family behind her. The original owner's last wish was to save her mother, protect the Sima family, and find a man better than Chu Luo. Shi Shang was in despair. F*ck, now that the original owner's mother had been banished to the cold palace, she was about to expose her identity as a girl, and the Sima family was in chaos. As long as her identity as a girl was exposed, the Sima family would be executed. It was so fast that it seemed to have been premeditated. In fact, it was indeed premeditated. The original owner had exposed her identity as a girl because Lu Zian had bribed a eunuch to expose her identity while she was unconscious. Lu Zian, the transmigrated female lead, was a little unscrupulous in order to attack her opponent. It didn't matter if she was unscrupulous as long as she achieved her goal. However, as the female lead, not the villain, she couldn't frame someone without evidence. Yet, this female lead did just that. This was a complete debacle. You're the female lead, not the villain. You have to be righteous. You have to be fair. You have to be honest. Shi Shang sighed again. It was great to be a villain. There was no need to pretend to be righteous. If she didn't like you, she would kill you. Awesome. Shi Shang was melancholy. Now, not to mention killing the female lead, even getting out of bed was a problem. The original owner deserved to be beaten. She knew that her amulet had fallen out of favor, but she still poisoned Princess Lu, who was now favored. She made people think that Lu Zian was the one who did it. In the end, the female lead saw through her plan in minutes and even got the emperor to beat her up. In the end, the female lead gained a blessing in disguise. She cured Princess Lu and got to know Princess Lu. They developed a friendship and had a backer. Erguzi, the body you chose this time seems like you deserve to die. Shi Shang was puzzled. The original owner wasn't innocent. But there was definitely resentment. After a while, the system spoke. There's a problem with the system. The body you used this time was supposed to be Princess Zhen. Shi Shang, damn, Erguzi, are you broken? You even messed up your avatar? Wasn't F***king broken by you? The host changed the program and used its authority by force. She found some strange functions added by the owner and messed around. How could it be blamed for such a problem? Then what should I do now? Change back to my original body? Princess Zhen is already dead. It's too late. The system said. You can use this body. There will be no score for this mission. You can choose not to complete the original owner's last wish. But the host needs to be careful. If you mess around, your character points will still be deducted. Shi Shang. * you want a woman dressed as a man? Although I don't know what the hell I wrote. #begging for votes. #begging for votes. Chapter 1177. No, it's your fault. Why do you want me to take the blame? You have to compensate me. Shi Shang was not convinced. How is it my fault? It's my host's fault. The system felt that it could not win against Shi Shang, so it admitted defeat. Host, what do you want? Give me some medicine first. My butt hurts. He had been spanked 50 times. She was not beaten to death because she wanted to let the original owner know how miserable she would be in the future. She did not need to look to know that her but must be very beautiful. It was bloody. Let's make it clear first. I'll give you the medicine and we'll let this go. It did not want the entire plane to be threatened by its host. Although it was threatened all the time. You wish. You want to let this go with just a little medicine? Do you think I will be so easy to deal with? Host, please remember that you are also to blame for the current situation. It was responsible for controlling the system, not changing the program. These things were set to be fixed. T. I didn't do anything when I went back. How can you blame me for the sudden problem? That makes sense. Maybe you didn't recover from it. Stop ting. I'm telling you, this is your fault. It's fine if you don't give me the newbie gift package, but now you're pushing the blame to me. A system like you will be thrown into the recycling bin sooner or later. The system suddenly went silent. Shang did not say anything for a while. Shang thought that it had gone offline. He took out the tablet and saw that it was online. Was it stuck? Butt face? Are you okay? Do you need to change your brain? Host, I think you need to change your brain. Shang did not know if it was an illusion, but he suddenly felt that Buttface's tone was much tougher than before. Shang rolled his eyes. Could it be that the retarded master is back? Shang looked down at the tablet and swiped her fingers a few times. Then she saw that her access was being cut off. Exclamation marks appeared on the screen one by one, along with notifications saying that she had no access. Shang. This retarded master is finally online. Shang stared at the tablet for a while. When she was sure that her access had been completely blocked, she tilted her head and said, "But Face, can you ask your master to talk to me?" If the host completes the mission seriously, you will naturally see the master. The rest is not within the host's scope of concern. It was now a system with a backer, so it didn't need to be afraid of its host anymore. Sheng raised his eyebrows. Are you sure you want to talk to me in this tone? Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Her master was online, and her authority had been cleared. There was no problem at all. Illusion, it must be an illusion. However, when the system saw Sheng fiddling with her tablet, it had a bad feeling. Beep. System initialization successful. Authority replacement successful. Data transfer successful. Database authority replacement successful. Please name the system. The system has successfully ordered Buttface. The above was not the system's voice, but an even duller voice. The system remembered this voice. It was the voice that guided the system after initialization. Zoo. Host. What did you do? Give me the medicine. Damn it, it hurts so much. The system didn't want to give it at all, but it had already chosen the most effective medicine and gave it to Sheng. It couldn't control it at all. So scary. I've only been showing off for less than a minute. Why did you give me such a big blow? Sheng blocked the system and applied the medicine on himself. The medicine produced by the system was definitely of the highest quality. As soon as the medicine was applied, his butt felt cool, but he didn't feel any pain at all. After applying the medicine, Sheng put the system online. But Face, if you listen to me obediently in the future, I won't send you to the recycle bin. If you don't listen to me, humph. I'm so scared. Master, why did I change owners as soon as you came online? You can't cheat the system like this. Sheng held the tablet and looked at the data. However, the more he looked, the deeper his frown became. These data were not useful. In other words, there was still nothing. Except that she could control the system. The system had said that Feng Xi's database was not connected to hers, which meant that there should be more than one database. And those databases were probably not authorized to the system, so the system might not even know about them. I've underestimated this master. Interesting. Sheng laughed sinisterly. I'd like to see who's so awesome that he knows I so well and dares to scheme against I. Although Sher Shang had changed the system's owner to himself, the system firmly refused to admit it. Its loyalty to its master was still 100%. Sher Shang was too lazy to deal with it. He sat up on the bed and looked around. This seemed to be the palace where the original owner's mother used to live. Before she had a title, the original owner had always lived here. She only moved out after she got a title. However, there were only the original owner's clothes here. Sher Shang walked to the cabinet and rummaged through the clothes inside. Most of them were light-colored. After searching for a long time, he finally found a set of black casual clothes. Sher Shang changed out of his blood-stained clothes and saw a bronze mirror beside him. He walked over and looked at himself in it. The original owner was quite handsome. She didn't look too feminine in men's clothes. No wonder she hadn't been discovered for so many years. Sher Shang ran his fingers through his messy hair. I'm quite handsome. In the past, the original owner liked to wear light-colored clothes. His skin was fair, so wearing those clothes would give people the impression that he was a pretty boy. Sher Shang wore a dark-colored outfit. Coupled with his natural temperament, he instantly transformed from a pretty boy into a handsome man. Sher Shang rummaged through the cabinet and found a fan. He stood in front of the mirror and fiddled with it for a while. "You wait outside. I'll go in and take a look." A shrill voice suddenly sounded from outside. Sher Shang slammed the fan shut and turned to look at the main door. The chains rattled for a while before the door was pushed open. A young eunuch wearing a eunuch uniform walked in. He was stunned when he saw the neatly dressed and handsome Sher Shang. Did he walk into the wrong room? This person was indeed Prince Rong. Why didn't he look like him? Also, how could he get out of bed so quickly after being hit with the plank? Sher Shang sat on a chair nearby and crossed his legs. His roguish temperament instantly appeared. "You don't even know how to salute this prince?" Because the original owner wanted to pretend to be a man, he had deliberately trained his voice over the years. This made his voice sound a bit hoarse. Sher Shang didn't change his voice. The original owner's voice was very pleasant to listen to. It was hard to tell if it was a man or a woman. As long as he paid attention to the volume and pronunciation of his words, there wouldn't be any problems. When the eunuch heard Sher Shang's words, he suddenly came back to his senses. His face showed contempt. "Your Highness Prince Rong must have forgotten that you are currently locked up. Do you still think that you are the Prince Rong of the past?" These eunuchs dared to be so bold because they received orders from their masters. When the original owner of the body was tyrannical, those princes and princesses had suffered a lot. Now that they were in trouble, how could they not step on them? Sher Shang propped his fan against his chin. His eyebrows curved. "You're right. I am not the Prince Rong of the past." #hashtag today's request for popcorn-flavored votes ##. There's an activity in the book review section. Welcome, ##, monthly votes ##, votes ##, you guys are really bodhisattvas #. Chapter 1178. The eunuch suspiciously sized up Sher Shang. How could Prince Rong speak so confidently? His Majesty had just hit him, and his imperial mother was still locked up in the cold palace. It must be an act. The eunuch immediately calmed down after thinking about it. A mocking expression appeared on his face as he said sarcastically, "Your Highness Prince Rong, please don't argue with your servants, lest you suffer. You still know that you are servants, but you still think that you want to climb over this prince's head and become masters?" Sher Shang's tone was neither light nor heavy, making it impossible to tell whether he was happy or angry. The eunuch, who had just calmed down, became uneasy again. He didn't know if Sher Shang was faking it, or if he really had a trump card. The eunuch's mind was spinning. He suddenly gritted his teeth and said, "Your Highness Prince Rong, please excuse us. Come in." The last sentence was shouted towards the outside. A eunuch brought in another man. The man had shifty eyes and was wearing an imperial guard uniform that didn't fit him well. It was obvious that it wasn't his. The man sized up Sher Shang and said in disdain, "A man? You'll know in a moment. The eunuch patted the man's shoulder and reminded him, "Hurry up, it will be troublesome if someone comes." Shi Shang was speechless. These three idiots had the guts to conspire in front of her. The eunuch signaled to the other eunuch with his eyes and prepared to leave. Just as they turned around, a blood-curdling scream came from behind. The two of them turned around at the same time. The man from before was kneeling on the ground, clutching an unspeakable part as he screamed, his face deathly pale. In front of him stood the valiant and formidable Shi Shang. She curled the corners of her mouth into a sinister smile. Her lips parted slightly, and her voice sounded like it came from the depths of hell. "Have you decided how you want to die?" The two eunuchs simultaneously felt a chill in their crotch. Although they didn't have that thing anymore, they still felt the pain when they saw the man screaming. In the original plot, these three eunuchs were bribed by the female lead. That man raped the original Shi Shang, and then left her in the room. These two eunuchs pretended to find out and naturally exposed the fact that the original Shi Shang was a girl. Shi Shang didn't feel a chill. At that time, the original Shi Shang was already in such a state. How could this man do it? Heavy tastes, too scary. She had only used the wrong avatar. Originally, this matter had nothing to do with her, but now that these people wanted to deal with her, it was a little related. Let me teach them a lesson. The two eunuchs looked at the person walking towards them with a sinister smile on his face. It made them feel like they were in hell. Their backs were covered in cold sweat and their legs couldn't help but tremble. The person in front of him was not a young and handsome gentleman, but an evil spirit with a green face and fangs. She was here to take his life. Lu Ziyan waited for a few days, but there was no news. This was not what she had planned. When she entered the palace to treat Princess and Lu, she asked around and found that nothing major had happened in the palace recently. Lu Ziyan found it strange. She had already arranged everything, so why was there no news at all? Could it be because the emperor ordered this matter to be sealed? Thinking about it, it wasn't impossible. As the saying goes, don't wash your dirty linen in public. But even so, it was impossible for there to be no movement at all, right? After leaving Princess and Li's place, Lu Ziyan avoided the people in the palace and decided to ask around herself. She wanted to find the two eunuchs she had bribed, but she didn't see them at all. After asking around, she found out that they hadn't been seen for a few days. The palace was so big that one or two people going missing wasn't a big deal. If they didn't have a good relationship with each other, they wouldn't even notice. Even if they did, they would choose to play it safe and pretend that they didn't know anything. Lu Ziyan looked towards a certain direction in the palace and decided to go take a look. Pure Flowers Palace. Prince Rong's consort mother's palace. This used to be the most lively palace, but now it was deserted. Lu Ziyan climbed in from the outside. The palace was very quiet and she couldn't hear anything. She walked along the corridor to the backyard and carefully looked around. All the rooms were empty. She didn't see Prince Rong or anyone else. This palace gave her the feeling that it was an abandoned palace with no one in sight. Prince Rong should be under house arrest here. How could he have disappeared? Could it be that the emperor brought him somewhere else after the deed was done? Lu Ziyan felt that this place was a little strange. She first left Pure Flowers Palace. Just as she jumped down the palace wall, she was pressed against it. Lu Ziyan subconsciously retaliated. "Miss Lu, do you only feel happy after leaving a mark on this prince's body every time?" A sinister voice sounded in Lu Ziyan's ears. Lu Ziyan paused for a moment before quickly hitting the other party. She said coldly, "If the Luo King doesn't ambush me every time, I naturally won't attack the Luo King." The latter grabbed her hand and pulled her into his embrace. He hugged her waist and closed the distance between them. She could clearly see the enlarged handsome face in front of her. Lu Ziyan's face darkened. "Luo King, a gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists. Let go of me." "A gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists?" Chu Luo chuckled. She reached out to lift Lu Ziyan's chin and lowered her head to kiss her. "Ooh. Lu Ziyan opened her eyes abruptly. Let, you beast. Let. Ooh. While Lu Ziyan was speaking, Chu Luo stuck her tongue in to stop her from speaking. Shi Shang sat above the palace and propped his chin up as he watched the passionate kiss below. After a while, he glanced at the imperial guards who were about to turn the corner and suddenly shouted, "Help! Molester!" When the imperial guards heard the voice, they abruptly looked up. Shi Shang had already jumped to the other side. The imperial guards couldn't see him, so they quickly circled around the corner. "Greetings, Prince Luo." When the imperial guards saw Chu Luo standing opposite them, they stopped and bowed. Chu Luo asked calmly, "What happened just now?" Before they could ask, Chu Luo asked first. The imperial guards could only answer, "I don't know either. I heard someone shouting and came over." Chu Luo said seriously, "Safety in the palace is the most important thing. Go over there and take a look." The imperial guards didn't dare to object. "Yes." Shi Shang curled his lips. "Just based on how slow you guys are, if there were really criminals, they would have King fled long ago." After the imperial guards left, Chu Luo looked at the grass in the corner. "Come out." Lu Ziyan walked out with a red face. She wiped her mouth with her hand and avoided Chu Luo's gaze. "Did you find that voice familiar, Prince Luo?" A sinister glint flashed across Chu Luo's eyes. "Miss Lu, are you talking about Prince Rong?" Lu Ziyan looked at the place where the voice had come from. There was no one there. If it was really Prince Rong, how did he get up there? Lu Ziyan glanced at Chu Luo from the corner of her eye, and her beautiful eyes darted around. "Prince Luo, have you heard anything recently?" Chu Luo smiled. Her entire body seemed to be plated with a layer of gold. She licked her lips seductively. "That depends on what Miss Lu wants to know." Lu Ziyan cursed silently and suppressed the strange feeling in her heart. In the palace, Prince Rong. Chapter 1179. I'm not dead yet. You don't have to be so concerned about me. The person who responded to Lu Ziyan wasn't Chu Luo. The voice came from above and overlapped with the voice from before. Lu Ziyan looked up abruptly and saw the man sitting above. At first glance, Lu Ziyan almost didn't recognize the person above. He was dressed in black casual clothes. Half of his hair was tied up with a white jade crown, and the other half was casually draped behind him. His expression was calm and his posture was casual and lazy, but it didn't lose its noble elegance. The youth was as beautiful as jade. Some people just sat there and formed a painting. For example, Chu Luo, however, Lu Ziyan had never thought that she would see such an aura on Prince Rong one day. Was this still the arrogant, despotic, and disgusting Prince Rong she knew? Shi Shang opened his folding fan and waved it showily. He raised his eyebrows slightly. "Miss Lu, have you fallen in love with me?" Lu Ziyan suddenly came back to her senses. She was stunned. Was he really fine? "Prince Rong, I remember that you're still grounded, right?" Chu Luo wasn't at the scene last time, but she knew what she had done. Hence, Chu Luo didn't give Shi Shang a good look. Shi Shang waved his folding fan and said with a smile, "I haven't left Pure Flower's palace. I'm still within its territory. Don't talk nonsense." Chu Luo felt a little strange. In the past, when Prince Rong saw her, the way he looked at her was the same as the way the women outside looked at her. It was disgusting. But now, there was only calmness in his eyes. Even though he was smiling, it didn't cause any ripples in his eyes. He was so calm that it was a little strange. His aura was also worlds apart, as if he had suddenly been reborn. "Miss Lu, don't you need to bow to me?" Shi Shang shifted his gaze to Lu Ziyan. Forget about Chu Luo. After all, she was a prince with a different surname. Lu Ziyan restrained her expression and bowed slightly under the circumstances. "Your Highness Prince Rong." Although he was grounded, he still had his title. He was still Prince Rong of the Northern Liang Kingdom. In ancient times, a higher official could crush someone to death. Lu Ziyan didn't like this feeling, but there was nothing she could do. She didn't have the ability to challenge the system of this world. Chu Luo thought that Shi Shang was going to find trouble with Lu Ziyan. In the past, every time she saw Lu Ziyan, she would oppose her and use her status as a prince to suppress Lu Ziyan. Therefore, Chu Luo stared at her warily and even warned her with her eyes. Shi Shang smiled and ignored Chu Luo's warning gaze. He said maliciously, "Those two asked me to tell Miss Lu that they're doing very well now. You don't have to worry about them. If Miss Lu has the heart, you can send them some silver taels. They'll be very grateful." Lu Ziyan jerked her head up and met Shi Shang's calm eyes. The light between heaven and earth was suddenly sucked away. In that instant, she felt as if she had been pulled into a very dark space. There was nothing inside, only darkness where she couldn't even see her own fingers. She was locked inside, unable to speak or hear anything. It was as if she was isolated from the rest of the world. Panic spread from the depths of her soul and seeped into her limbs, constantly devouring her rationality. "Miss Lu." Lu Ziyan's eyes suddenly lit up. She turned her head stiffly and met Chu Luo's face. Only then did the feeling from before slowly fade. Goosebumps covered her entire body. It was a feeling of disgust and terror. Lu Ziyan had lived for 2 lifetimes, but even when she died in her previous life, she had never felt such a thing. All of this happened in just a few seconds. Chu Luo patted Lu Ziyan's shoulder and looked up at Shi Shang. "Prince Rong, what do you mean?" Shi Shang blinked and said briskly, "Ask your little cutie." "His little cutie? Who?" Shi Shang's gaze landed on Lu Ziyan. Chu Luo immediately reacted. Shi Shang's words just now weren't subtle. Coupled with the recent news she had heard, it was easy to connect the dots. Chu Luo's eyes darted around and she said threateningly, "Prince Rong, I'm afraid you won't be able to take half a step out of Pure Flower's palace in the future." She dared to touch his woman. How could Shi Shang be threatened? He jumped down from above and walked arrogantly to Chu Luo. "I'll show you how I'm going to leave now." "Chu Luo. Who's playing with you?" His face darkened. "Prince Rong knows very well what I mean. Are you trying to kill me?" Shi Shang replied naturally. He rested his folding fan on his chin and placed his other hand on his waist. He tilted his head slightly and laughed arrogantly. "But how can it be that easy? Do you think I'm made of mud that you can do whatever you want? If you idiots can kill Mu Bai will acknowledge you as his master." "Mu Bai? What does it have to do with me? How can I get shot even when I'm lying down?" Chu Luo frowned. The person in front of her didn't seem like the Prince Rong of the past. She sized up Shi Shang. The latter was smiling arrogantly, and the corners of his mouth were full of mockery. Chu Luo's eyes darkened. "Then we'll see." She had to get someone to investigate Prince Rong's recent affairs. "Who wants to wait with you?" Shi Shang sneered. His expression suddenly turned serious and he started howling. "Someone." Orderly footsteps sounded from around the corner. Lu Ziyan's expression changed slightly and she hid to the side. She had just taken 2 steps when she stepped on something and fell to the ground. The Imperial Guards had already arrived. "Your Highness Prince Rong, Prince Luo." There was another person lying on the ground. The Imperial Guard quickly asked, "What happened?" "I don't know." Shi Shang shook his head. The Imperial Guard's lips twitched. "Weren't you the one who shouted just now, Your Highness? You were the one who called, so how could you not know what happened? I saw Prince Luo and Miss Lu sneaking around here and thought that they needed help, so I called out for them." Shi Shang shrugged. Lu Ziyan got up from the ground and patted the dust off her skirt calmly. "I just came out of Princess Annel's palace and got lost. I don't know how I got here and happened to meet Prince Luo. Princess Annel's palace and Pure Flower's palace are in the north and south respectively. Miss Lu, it's interesting that you got lost. Those who didn't know better would think that you were following Prince Luo. Your Highness Prince Rong, What do you mean? Lu Xian's eyes were cold. Shi Shang looked at the sky. I'm saying that you have ulterior motives towards Prince Luo. Lu Xian took a deep breath and suppressed her anger. Your Highness Prince Rong, you have to have evidence before you speak. I just happened to meet Prince Luo here. Shi Shang said seriously, I believe you. I also believe that you just happened to kiss Prince Luo. The Imperial Guard. Why did it feel like there was so much information? Lu Xian. Did she see it just now? Then here's the question. Shi Shang dragged his words. Prince Luo, why did you come to Pure Flowers Palace for no reason? No matter where you go, you won't pass by Pure Flowers Palace, much less just passing by. Pure Flowers Palace had always been occupied by the most favored concubines of each dynasty, so after generations of modifications, the entire Pure Flowers Palace was practically independent. Those who didn't enter Pure Flowers Palace definitely wouldn't take half a step into the territory of Pure Flowers Palace. Asterisk begging for monthly votes, begging for monthly votes, begging for monthly votes, begging for monthly votes. Don't ask me why I'm begging, Willful. I want it. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.